important to eliminate the knockdown shields, and you could see that was happening, and the attempt was there from Zero, but he got locked in a little too much, which allowed Waltzy to gain the advantage by going up onto the high ground, taking the top of the car, and then as soon as he had that advantage, he was able to rip through. Again, Waltzy, he does not miss, right? As soon as you get into that position where you get a straight sightline on your opponent, Waltzy takes and applies so much damage. Zero was never really going to be able to get back into that engagement.
I wondered if he was going to pull out the Kraber at one point as well, just go for the no-scope. It would be quite something if he won it that way. At this point, Zero was happy with second. He was playing for second. He was thinking, if we get second, I'm good here. I've won my ones. But Falcons do end up winning the most important fight of that game. That's the 1v1. There's Privacy and the boys popping off in the crowd as well. Why wouldn't you? A big, big moment to start the day. And it's always nice to do it against a former teammate, former housemate, and of course, fellow Australian.
I mean, Falcons and Liquid were going at each other during rehearsals. They were kind of...
They really were.
There was back and forth, and, you know, this is what we wanted to see. We knew going into this game there was always going to be the Falcons versus Liquid story. Sometimes we try and force it unnaturally, but when it's a 3v3 at the end of the game, how can we not talk about it?
I'd love to see that from Zero's POV, by the way, the whole of that endgame, because some of those shots he hit, we were like, oh, this is they're just going to swoop in here, Falcons.
We saw a little bit.
And then I see Hal get dinged, finished. Then I see Guild all of a sudden falling over. And he makes it a 1v1 somehow. And even though he's disappointed now, understandably, to even get it to that point, not many players in the world have that ability.
And this is what's crazy, right? I mean, in any other circumstance, second place with the kills they were able to put on the board, Liquid probably would be delighted with that. But the fact you're in that 1v1, you were that close to winning, it's always going to be a disappointment in this current moment.
I also think he wouldn't have cared if it was anyone but Falcons.
Yeah,
to be honest. Exactly. It would like, good job, boys, second place, lots of KP, like, nice job. You never want to lose to the old teammates, do you? You never want to have that little one-upmanship go against you. This is some of the big moments in the end game that we're seeing here as we went down to the final 5 teams. BP versus Aurora. I love this play from Prestis, by the way. This is recognizing game situation. This is great game sense, knowing that he had to stop that res.
Also, if you think back right to the start of the game, by the way, with Falcons, when they were able to escape, get into the vault, survive, and then reposition into Dome. Had they lost that initial fight, had they been a little bit slower on their rotation, they never even would have got into this position.
Wait a minute, we're going to see it here. Oh. Shot in the cheeks to get that second knock, and then the 1v1 you saw just swinging behind that knockdown. We'll say, in those 1v1s, Waltz is one of the most calm players in the world. You hear it in the comms sometimes, he'll just say something like, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. Don't worry about it, I got it, I got it, I got it. And that just gives you confidence as a teammate. If my teammate's saying that in a 1v1, I got it, don't worry. I believe he's got it.
Well, there's how it's looking after that first match. 23 points for Falcons, 17 for Liquid. Still nothing to be ashamed of. Gen G picking up 3rd place, which, you know, the Gen G story and what they've been through so far, and the fact they are now here, they are rested, and they put a 3rd place on the board. That will be a good confidence builder for them. On the other side of the table, a few early exits for some of our big hitters, but it is just match 1.
We'll say Asia from Gen G, we just heard from the back as well, in that game, put up his 500th death. Not the best of stats, but
that being said, we saw that from Zane yesterday.
He's got a lot of kills. He's got a lot of kills, everyone.
The back of it.
Otherwise, he wouldn't be here.
Brilliant 1v1 to have, though, after match 1.
What better way to start the day? Right, a 1v1 between Falcons and Liquid. You love to see it. We're not going to see Crypto anymore.
To be expected.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Now, the only difference that we may see compared to yesterday is typically we were seeing Seer banned in Game 2. Will we see that again because we're on World's Edge? We might still see plenty of Caustic popping up. It's going to be interesting seeing the numbers leading into it. But I think this now for Falcons, when you look at, you know, their plot armor and how their day 1 started, they were able to get that win on the board. Day 2 now starts, they get a win on the board. Everything is starting to lean towards Falcons getting all the way to finals. But I will say, I think Liquid are one of my favorites for the tournament as well. It doesn't matter that they lost that 1v1. It doesn't matter they lost that game. It's only going to matter when you get to match point finals that you don't lose it there.
I mean, that guy won a 1v6 yesterday.
He did. By the way, have you watched, you probably have watched it back, with how Panic was just on top of the cannon and he was in the sight lines of players and somehow on a slither of health was not spotted.
I said it yesterday. Someone wasn't wearing their glasses. Someone wasn't paying attention to where they should have been. And the attention being off. My favourite part of that end game, by the way, is when Panic flew up and then he lands on a rock and you just see his Valk kind of poking over going,
"Are you done yet?
Do you mind if I get involved?" Is that all right with everybody? Swoops in and wins the 1v1. Wolves on your screen right now. Feeling good?
Gue salah nonton
Sorry boys, that's on me.
they die straight away. But these are the overall rankings, by the way. So if you look
Babi
at
tadi yang
both
ALGS
group stages that have been played so far, Falcons currently on 74 points at the top of the table. Then down towards the bottom, you've got the likes of Neo, who are on 36 right now. But of course, we have more pages because we have all 40 teams featuring in these rankings.
Certainly do indeed a long way to go to get to the bottom of those leaderboards. We'll take a look at those a little bit later on. Of course, got some Neo fans in the building, hoping that their support can push the boys a little bit further up those leaderboards. Wolves fans in the building as well. We're very close to some of them. Hello, everyone. Just giving you a little wave.
Too close.
Close enough. Am I liking? I want to cast it.
No, I meant I'm too close to you.
Yeah. Oh, you're too close to them.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
You're putting the fear of God into them.
Well, Neo, they struggled a little bit yesterday.
Ada cok group stage ini anjir.
Couple of players who were on the struggle bus, in particular with the amount of damage they dealt as well. Couldn't quite get there.
Chat gue bisa.
Always interesting when we get into international competition. Teams that were suddenly
Lah
looking
chat gue bisa.
dominant in their own region.
Gue
get
kira
to
nggak bisa
international
anjir.
competition and the gameplay changes tenfold. As we take a look at all those keys. We won't be crushing any today, but soon.
You're going to get up early tomorrow, aren't you?
I can't wait to crush some
jump
keys.
out of bed tomorrow.
Kagak kelar-kelar.
I guess we'll
Najong.
have a coffee in each hand.
Particularly excited to see how the Key Crusher performs this year. Last year, Barney had to help it out, but I've heard there's been
Barney's
Green
been
screen.
significant
Mana
improvement.
ada green
heavy
screen
engineering
gak
work.
gue anjing.
EWC's.
If it doesn't work, it's Barney's
Ada
fault.
green
by
screen
default.
gak gue. Mana?
Putting that together.
Yep.
Hibahin gue.
Going into this second, I wonder whether we will see a chance for Falcons to try and replicate what they did. Early move, play zone. Of course, we
Hibahin
see
gua
no
green
crypto
screen.
this time, but I don't think it would have really changed and impacted too much for Falcons, apart from the fact that at the end of the game, Waltzy was on the crypto. But it's one of those legends that when you're in a 1v1, you probably don't want to be on crypto. You don't really have much utility to use. There's not many abilities that can really help you out.
Especially when Zero managed to break the drone as well. You know, if you can get the EMP off, all of a sudden it's advantage you. You get the stun, you get the free damage, and then you're probably swinging and picking up.
Anak anjing gue dari
Win.
kemarin
The
cok
fact
begini
that
mulu.
As soon as Zero broke that, I thought advantage Zero. I really did think that he was going to have the opportunity to win that one, but wasn't to be this time around. We'll have to see if he gets some revenge in game number 2. Thank you for
Mulai.
As we head into game 2 now, World's Edge continues to be our stage.
I do want to mention again, with Falcons taking that first win, they
Gak bisa
prioritized
plek.
E-District. They were the first team
Gue di approve ya. Gue takut kena strike anjing kalau stream yang lain.
Fantastic for them to
Kan di
put
approve
points
ya
on
ini.
World's Edge here and take an early lead, because then when we do get
Sabar,
into match
Dage.
4 through 6, it just sets them up for a really good position through the later half.
Well, there's a man who is probably feeling pretty comfortable right now on that main stage. Interesting discussion I saw online yesterday about arm wrestling controller players down. Waltzy is one of them, and his
Gue
response
pakai
was
yang
posture.
OBS
Yep,
gue
gotta
minimize
make sure you're
hilang
backstage
anjing.
straight. I also saw an interesting discussion of you and Waltzy arm wrestling, and I'm still curious. How do you think that one would go?
Maybe in the 2027 esports.
Oh, okay. We'll start to tease it a little bit, as it looks like we're
I'll give
going to
him
be heading
I'll give him
up
a chance to do a little bit of training.
Yeah, he needs it.
He needs it.
Jagoannya tim apa? Falcon.
This is where we're going.
Falcon
Everybody
sama tim
versus
Liquid
Pro.
bisa.
Be pretty happy with that. It's interesting to see what side of Countdown we
Falcon,
actually
tim
pull. It's going
Liquid.
to go in towards Fissure. Doesn't look like those
Pike.
back buildings will be in, but
Pike
we'll have
Gaming.
to see if it does pull that way or if it continues towards
Terus-
Countdown. Where the way that Virtus Pro
Apa
seem
lagi
to
ya?
be positioning themselves, it does seem like a northwestern pull is what they're expecting.
We are going to have a Seer ban going into match 3, as we kind of expected. It was pretty close, actually. 16 Seers,
Itu doang
15
sih.
Watson.
GD.
So Watson
Kalau dari
almost
Indonesia tim
teetering
apa?
over
RRT
the edge of
doang,
being able to
anjing.
change how this one was going to go. Watson going to be very important as well. And it is interesting,
Indonya
isn't
RRT
it? As soon
doang
as you
ini.
lose crypto, suddenly everyone's off Caustic and onto Watson, because they're like, oh, our fences are going to work again.
Yang Indo.
Here's a man of, I would say, a more traditional grip of the controller under the desk. That's how I do it, Dan.
Sure you do, as now Aurora, a slightly quiet game in the first, only the 6 points they were able to put on the board. You mentioned it, they were a little bit aggressive, they were able to win the
Lah,
engagement.
early fight nih.
But again, if you miss
Early
time
fight
things,
nih,
if
guys.
you are aggressive in the wrong moment, third party is always going to be there as a potential to lose out on. And they're going to be going for the traditional tried and tested Alter and Seer to work together.
kecil banget.
As Flat also were a bit of a nuisance in the previous game as well. They put 9 points on the board. They were able to get to the late game, but sadly they kind of tried to wedge themselves in between a lot of teams who had already found priority.
Championnya rata-rata sama gitu.
So the last thing we want to say about it, Accuser is the perfect
Meta.
combination of both of the techniques
Apex
that
tuh
we talked
meta
about previously
lebih tepatnya.
when it comes to holding the controller.
Championnya rata-rata sama. Kalau champion enggak, champion tuh enggak semuanya ini anjir. Enggak kayak satu tim gitu, champion terus sampai dari game 1 sampai ini. Enggak anjir. Posisi. Ini yang dijagoin tuh tim ini.
Trail at least stepped upon to get somewhere near the zone, and they're going to go via a couple of Evo harvesters, but they've got to be careful here because SAUL are shadowing them at the moment. And if they're not checking their backs, could be caught off guard.
Well, again, it's a similar situation to a very similar position that we saw in the previous game, where just two teams making sure they get the Evo harvester. Looks like they're going to leave each other alone, but these two teams not leaving each other alone. Wolves in Team Liquid, massive fight going down.
Jadi kadang gini sih Plek game apa yang bikin komposisi tim ini meta. Mana tim tadi, tim Falcon. Mana tim Falcon tadi, mana tim Falcon gua Sir ini dia buat nge-scan zur gitu, Cok. Zur. Nge-silence. Q-nya nge-silence. Skillnya nge-silence. Ultinya buat nge-scan kayak bikin dom. Kayak roomnya siapa? Lau. Roomnya Lau. Kayak roomnya Lau. Tapi buat nge-scan doang. Terus ini Seer. Nih, ini Alter buat reset. Bagus sama buat reset aja sih. Dia bisa naro TP. Jadi lu bisa balik lagi. Ke TP-an itu. Terus Watson ini kalau misal ada kayak net, kayak pokoknya yang roket-roketan dah. Apa sih namanya itu ya? Pokoknya yang begitu dah. Bisa ditangkis sama, maksudnya bisa ke-deny lah, bisa ke-cancel sama Watson. Reset apaan? Reset itu misal tim lu kenok nih. Kalah war gitu ya. Satu balik. Nah, yang satu balik itu bisa manggil dua tim lu yang kenok. Jadi reset lagi kan. Tapi kurangnya kalau musuh itu lu tahu, kalau musuhnya tahu kenok 2 udah pasti dimasukin portalnya itu doang. Kurangnya bisa dimasukin nama musuh. Nih kayak gini nih. Dia kan balik lagi nih. Kalau ada yang kenok lah. Dia kalawar. Kalau kalawar bisa reset.
All of a sudden, Nano and QZ are in a little bit of a sticky situation here.
Oh my god. Ini sih. Kemarin masuk kamar kan ada 2 ya? Kan ada 2. Kan kemarin gua ada 2. Bukan yang bikin portal yang bikin portal itu cewek. Oh yang cewek. Enggak. Beda. Baru lagi dong. Baru lagi. Butuh sih sebenarnya kayak karakter buat reset gitu, Cok.
Kurasami Havoc are going to be very happy with that one when they realize, as we have a look across to SAUL, they're also going to gain a little bit of information from the survey beacon, and they're going to see where people are currently residing.
The interesting thing about this zone pool is the fact that everybody was playing for the Countdown Northwest side, right? So all the teams have now stacked up on that side of map. The teams who are down on the southern side, as we can see right now, they don't really have to worry about their backs because it's completely clear because they arrived so late. So everybody now who essentially had prio is now in a traffic jam on that northern side. They all have to come back through countdown or wrap round
Tim Liquid,
before that zone
Tim
starts to
Liquidnya
close.
ini
It is
anjing
havoc
udah
for everybody
balik.
who
Oh,
basically
oh
have
tadi
priority
yang
this
tadi
zone.
ketat
Heroes
ya.
like have a ring console there at Landslide as well, so they know full well now where this pull is going to be going. Whereas for a lot of other teams, they won't have
RRQ
that
mainnya
information.
nanti,
The likes
anjir.
of Virtus Pro, Vision, Dog Red,
CS
for
sama
example. Even though there is one ring console at Countdown, I doubt anyone has been able to use it.
Perolehan poin, iya. Kepi dihitung 1. Dia champion 12. Kalau nggak salah champion 12. Kill point dihitung 1. Champion tuh 12. Iya 12. Di perang anjing. Oh ini replay. Fuck, gua ngeliat.
Much to the dismay of Team Liquid.
Zero wasn't happy.
He was not happy.
Not happy.
It's funny because the kind of things that you would type in the lobby after the fact, you can now yell through the arena.
I don't think you can actually.
Yeah, I'm sure
Some of those things that are typed in lobbies will lead to your imagination.
So SAUL are going to be happy, and actually with the pool that we're talking about, the position they find themselves in, they will be able to reside here for quite some time. They're set up shop. They'll be able to deal some damage to the teams who are going to be arriving a little bit later. I actually do like the position from Zipline Mafia as well on the southwest, because not only can they move into zone later, but they can hold out unlimited and potentially pick up some KP too.
Yeah, Shopify got to be careful here because Neo are actually wrapping behind them at the vault tunnel. So Koifel, who was up on that tower, kind of focusing his attention. The Seer joke in there somewhere. Onto SAUL now has to be careful that he
Karena
doesn't get
nggak tahu
shot in the back.
skillnya. Iya, lu kan lagi pulang nggak main juga, cok.
Will learn how to say that fluently by the end of this tournament.
Coba main flag, main.
Still struggling though, still just
Seru,
5
Apek,
points
cok.
on the board throughout the group stages at the moment. Hitting the survey beacon though is going to let them know where everyone is, but outside of zone at this point,
Tapi kalau motion
You might not have to say their team made past the group stages at this point. We need to see more from the Pirates.
jangan dipaksa. Mainnya udah pada demen pakai controller. Nggak juga sih, ada juga yang pakai MNK, cok. Masalah yang dominasi juga kadang rata-rata tuh MNK, anjir. Yang dominasi ya. Banyak yang demen karena controller lebih konsisten aja. Lebih konsisten aja sih, cok. Kalau di Apex nggak kayak mouse and keyboard. Skip motion sickness. Iya, cok, jangan, cok. Mual anjing, kagak enak banget. Kayak gua ini main Stellar Blade harus ada dotnya di tengah anjing. Baru nggak motion sickness. Sama apa Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk juga motion sickness anjing kalau nggak ada dot.
Through the tunnel as well, because they kind of came towards Skyhook because they saw the likes of Shopify Rebellion, but now they are going to be held up by 2 more squads, so they do have the option if they would rather take what they think is more of a natural 3v3 back on that Shopify Rebellion side. Whereas here it's so congested up towards Skyhook, and it doesn't get much better as you go further south. Dog Red are waiting up towards Countdown. Virtus Pro are in that building we saw earlier, and Vision also are going to be up towards the Trials area. So Falcons, maybe they have an evac tower, perhaps they can go for a little bit later, but right now they are very much focused on
emang ininya aja nggak sih, cok? Ya FPS aja.
A lot of things to worry about here on in Skyhook. Like you mentioned, Neo kind of hovering around as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're committing to
Skyhook. Palo emang
kuring
sebenarnya.
Trying to isolate this fight and they want to take it. I think the fact they got an armor check
butuh yang
is giving them
war.
and the ghost signal, so to speak, to try and push this fight. But with
masa itu Palo lama banget anjing.
It makes it painful to try and get that initial damage and that initial knock. And with Neo still hanging around in the area, Falcons got to be careful here.
Lama banget Palo
ngomong.
Yeah, I wonder whether they're trying to actually make Neo engage with Pirates here. Just a couple of pokes, a little bit of prodding to say, look, there's a battle happening, why don't you come and join? As now round 3 is going to be closing. Everyone starts to need to move a little bit faster here. It's also Shopify Rebellion taking their fight against Gen G on the east
Kalah
side.
gak sih? Tiny Knock, Shopify Rebellion. Threat anjir.
Zick Index is still up, but so many teams in the area means the damage is coming from everywhere. And certainly coming from the RE45.
1v2. Yah, 1v1 anjir. Wah, ente anjing Genji. Pagar listrik gunanya apa? Itu ya barrier aja, Plek. Barrier biar orang kayak masuk tuh dia kena slow, terus kena immobilize. Lu gerakin mouse ini apa jadi kayak lama gitu, Cok.
It's going to have to be a 2v3 for Shopify Rebellion, but the help's coming in from the lobby. SAUL say, don't worry, we're going to try and help you out here, Shopify, but it's not going to be enough, and it's not going to be in time.
Nge-damage juga pula.
Shopify Rebellion are eliminated, and Neo now down to just one.
And SAUL, they had backed off previously, but they see there's going to be blood in the water, and they jump on it. Pirates will finally go down.
Traktor pembunuh anjing.
SAUL, the last two remaining teams.
Traktor tragedi traktor, Cok. Berapa squad itu di dalam anjir?
6 teams in that process, so there just wasn't enough room for everyone to be able to escape. So SAUL and Dog Red will kind of size each other up, but it looks like they're going to back up away from each other. It's now actually to Aurora VP and enter Force 36, who are all
Di
in
dalam
the same kind of
traktor.
area just on this northern tip of countdown.
The zone is pulling out into
Zonanya
the
sih,
west side of landslide.
zona 4 masih 10. Tadi 12 anjing. Ini zona 5. Zona 5 10. Di tiap titik anjing ada orang sebelah-sebelahan. Ini open banget lagi zonanya anjing.
Now we have Dog Red on your screen. Killer Post taking a lot of damage from a lot of angles.
Itu zona mana sih? Landslide. Enggak. Belakangnya landslide.
Managed to get it off, but SAUL are hunting them down.
Winner of this team is probably just going to walk on into Heretics and Havoc as well, by the way. So the 3 KP could be very important. Most are likely to
ada Fufu Fafa anjing.
Really hide. A lot of open ground you're going to be forced into.
Dok Fufu Fafa.
SAUL looking for the KP. They're going to find one of them, and I think they're going to find 3 of them because it's not looking good. As VP will be eliminated elsewhere, SAUL just looking for the final remaining members to put these KP on the board. Fafa Feast is going to be the last player alive.
BTW Farlight ada di mobile. Gameplaynya ngikutin Apex. Emang iya. Apex juga dari dia kan beli IP-nya Titanfall. Dia IP-nya Titanfall ini. Apex tuh.
Remaining pieces of that, but even Aurora struggling as well. Actually, Aurora go down first. SAUL may be able to survive.
Gue nyoba sama di PC juga sama kayak Apex, Black. Sama. Gue juga main. Waktu itu nyoba. Enggak anjir, kaku banget. Kaku banget. Beda, Cok.
Zipline Mafia now down to a solo. So J Future.
Oh my god.
Teammates who impressed so many people in the Americas Pro League to qualify for the Split 1 playoffs here at EWC 2026 now have a chance to get a win on the board. Look at the space that they control.
I mean, what's crazy is we've
got
got 6 teams still alive, 3 of them are solo, so we only have
PUBG ya? Gue waktu itu nyoba main pas udah FPS. Anjing apaan dah?
But sadly will fall. The thing is, Dinos, they don't sacrifice much because all of the other teams are on the eastern side. Dinos could make that push.
That's what happens when you
Gue main pas sudah FPS, pas sudah first person.
down on that low ground, the remaining final member of Zipline Mafia.
Karena kan ada skillnya.
Another team who pulled off the Cinderella story to be here in
Apex. Apex.
Winning regional finals in the EMEA region.
Apex.
Special here. That's the real question. Kurasame Havoc.
Battle Royale ada skill. Udah Apex ngikutin kan.
Down to a solo, I believe, as well. Team Heretic still as a 3. They are a threat to this end game as well.
Now we have seen some crazy things happen already from Solo Rats, but Sia wasn't alive in those games. He was banned. So it's often that you will get caught out here, but Zipline Mafia have been able to stay alive, find that
Apex,
solo.
oh, iya sih. Ada glue wall. Apex ada glue wall. Tapi kalau pakai Newcastle tuh. L Apex WFF anjing bocil banget banget.
and it's going to be a 3v3 for the win here. Team Heretics versus Dinos.
Team Heretics, who finished last yesterday, have a chance now to try and put a win on the board. They've taken a lot of space, and
Ya
actually
kan
they have utility to work
roomnya Trafalgar. Ada siapa Lau. Lupa gua namanya ini. Trafalgar.
What a swing that is from Chaos.
Cing langsung nge-swing gitu, Cok.
From the R99, the second one
Oh
comes
my
in from the
God.
Growler of J Future, and Dinos
Di-
get their win. They will be the champions here on World's Edge.
Dinos, the new blood.
Anjir, nggak expect gue si Dino itu champion anjing.
Here in Paris. And I tell you what, they have a legend behind them as well.
Bajunya hitam doang lagi, kagak ada iniannya, Cok. Dino ini champion, nggak expect kemarin mainnya lawak. Game kemarin. Oh mungkin bagusnya di map ini ya. Nggak ada yang tahu sih. Biasanya tim kan begitu.
The story is always love seeing the underdog come through from Pro League, through regional finals, making it to LAN, making it to EWC, making it to the Split 1 playoffs, and then having their moment as well. What a moment that is for Dinos. Coming through and taking the win here at World's Edge with such a talented lobby.
So we'll
Gedean ya,
see it
chatnya ya?
going into the next. That's great news for the Rats. It was still kind of insane in that final circle. We had 6 teams, 3 of them were just solos. But in the end, it was Enter Force 36 who were the last surviving solo, I think, and were able to put on, you know, quite a considerable amount of extra points when you think about it. If you're able to go from 6th place to 3rd place, those points differentials could be important when you get down to either surviving or getting through to those finals.
Yeah, we'll talk about that zone bounce a little bit as well, because I think everybody in the lobby was caught off guard by that. No surprise to see so many teams initially with that zone, where you're positioned, thinking there has to be a countdown zone, even like a northwest countdown zone. I'm not sure if the edges of the zones were touching, but it looked incredibly close. And then to see that bounce back, I mean, where we actually ended up felt like the furthest point away from where I believed, if I'm honest with you, that end game was going to be.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. A lot of the players, they had predicted that as well, especially with the zone. It looked like it was touching on the northern side, so naturally you're going to play for the north. But in the end, Dinos, a fantastic 3v3. They were very confident in their engagement. I think the important thing you noticed was the exhibit wasn't able to be put into full effect from the side of Heretics. But still, a 2nd place for Heretics. They're going to be delighted with that one, especially considering what a dismal day they had yesterday.
Yeah, it's a tough one yesterday, but things started to pick up a little bit here in game number 2. We've still got, of course, 4 games to go in our group B and D combination that we're seeing in this lobby right now. So a lot of Apex Legends still to be played, but only one more map here on World's Edge before we change things up. Let's take a look at the leaderboards, those down. That's the match results from the game we just saw.
Yeah, how about that? 15 kills for Dinos. What they were doing on that 7 on the board. But of course, a lot of teams not able to still put up any points. I'm going to point out Shopify Rebellion. You know, they were in that truck. They won that fight. Sadly, they couldn't stay alive. If you do leave it that late, when you are contesting for some of those areas, there's always going to be that potential. Falcons also couldn't make their rotate through from the northern side. Either Skyhook got a little bit too congested, and in the end, they fell to the zone.
A bit of a rough one for a lot of teams. Just reading the lobby chat here, I think it was a surprise to many people that the zone pulled the way that it did. For the benefit of my, I would say, future, not going to reveal what's being said in the lobby chat, but it certainly does kind of feed into what we were saying with that zone pull back. And I think when it does pull back like that, if you are an Edge team, if you are arriving late, it's almost like a gift, right? Because you're looking at that game initially, you see that zone, you've got a long, long way to go, and you're not thinking you're going to have a good spot to play, you're going to have to fight your way in. All of a sudden, with the traffic all building up on one side, it becomes an easy, free KP game for you of everybody fighting each other towards the spot that you hold.
And what a different top 3 it would have been had that zone have moved to where people thought. Dinos, for example, they would have been held out on that southwest side. They were able to double back on themselves once they realized the zone was going to be pulling their way, and they capitalized being on edge. They were then able to get kills on the teams that tried to get out of their direction. And I mean, that's how it goes with Apex Legends, right? There's always going to be the potential that the zone comes your way, the RNG goes in your favor, but you have to capitalize on it, and that's exactly what Dinos have done.
Yeah, very, very effective end-game play from them, and I think as a young team, so having someone like Shero behind you is invaluable, right? Because he's been here, like you said, he's been in those big moments, he's been in some heartbreaking moments, as well as some fantastic moments for not just himself, but for the EMEA region. And I think just having that experience is such an important thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the team as they keep on progressing. For now, though, before we jump into game number 3, we're going to go to a quick break, but don't go too far because World's Edge will continue in just a few moments.
Waduh.
Welcome back, everybody. It was the quick break, of course, and we like to not keep you waiting. We try and get in the games as quick as we can. ALGS Split 1 playoffs does continue now as we head into our final game of World's Edge, Dan, and I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's been an interesting lobby. We've had one zone that was an old zone, and I mean an old zone. That truck zone takes me back to like early ALGS days. I haven't seen that one in quite some time. And then we have that kind of bounce back zone that we saw. I think it's keeping our players certainly on their toes here.
Ayam,
You were
Cok.
mentioning it, like the in-game lobby chat, the kind of IGLs, they always have the time to question other IGLs as well. It wasn't just about the zone pool.
Ada ayam-ayamnya
why
gitu
didn't you
tadi.
leave here? Why did you leave? Why did you in? And it's so funny, the ego contests that you have between IGLs about the way that the game should or shouldn't be played. But in the end, it's the series results that matters. It's how the scoreboard looks. And Dinos, the newbies, the new boys on the block, 33 points now take the lead.
Yeah, very, very good start for them. Team Falcons and Team Liquid in behind. No surprise, to see two of the biggest names in the ALGS right at the top here, but we've got to look down the bottom again. This is the worry, and I think for Wolves Esports, the fact that they had the first draft in the BOI draft here on World's Edge, they're going to be a little bit disappointed with what they put on the board so far.
Yeah,
BMW
they
loh.
need to do better going into this
BMW
because it's going
loh.
to be far more difficult on E-District, you would think, just from the POI that they were going to be playing of.
WGR.
That being said, there is always the possibility the zone could be a little bit more kind to you going into those next 3 matches, but it also does, you know, it makes you question yourself a little bit. You've had 2 games, you've not been able to put much points on the board. Should you be more aggressive? Are you being too aggressive? Are you taking fights you shouldn't at the same time?
Yeah, I think Liquid might have something to say about that one. They're too aggressive in that
Okay,
previous
cepat.
game. We saw the reaction coming in from Zero after he was forced to clutch the 1v1.
I'm going to be honest, I think that they should have done that, right? VP should have capitalized.
Oh, VP should have capitalized on that. I'm saying
absolutely.
Wolves probably... Is that fight worth it at that point of the game?
Absolutely not, no.
There you go.
But at the same time, could Liquid have maybe backed off themselves? they felt like they had to take the fight. It's a very difficult scenario to put yourself through again.
Robert.
Hindsight is always going to give you more time to think about it. But Virtus Pro in the end were the ones who really took full advantage.
First Pro were big fans of it, either
Yeah.
way. Whoever won that fight, they were there to clean up the final pieces and put those easy points on the board. I think for someone like VP, though, that's like the ultimate frustrating game, right? You see the ring pop, you see you land an account now.
Halo,
you've got a
Bang,
console,
lama.
You hit it, you're like, awesome, we've got a great priority.
Mana aja lu, monyet.
Right on top of us, we can play exactly where we want
Mana
to
aja
this end
lu.
game. And then to see that huge shift down to the south, that's a hard
Parah
one. I think
ini.
those kind of zones as an IGL, as a team, they're the ones that hurt the most. It's not the ones that like,
Partnership
the
EWC
zone falls
anjir.
towards you and you don't make the most of it when you have a good spot. It's the ones that like, I feel like I should have been guaranteed a top 5 just from having that zone pop early, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in one of the worst positions. How have we found our way into that?
Gila, gue gini
Yeah,
aja.
sometimes you think, should I have hedged my bets and should I have gone somewhere else? Should I have been able
Kamera
to put
gua
myself in the
aneh,
middle
anjing,
in case
kadang-kadang.
those zones were able to pull out?
Gue
But
kaget
it's so
kalau
much
udah
about
truk
intuition,
gitu
it's so
pasti
much about
mati
repetition
anjing.
as well. What have I seen? What have been the latest? And a lot of it comes down to superstition, if I'm completely honest.
Doain
I've
aja,
seen
Bit,
these zones
doain,
so
Bit.
much recently. I've got to play here.
Biar
But
biar
then you
gede
get to
gede
land, you get
sekalian.
to
Wih, game
tournaments,
3 udah mulai guys.
everything changes.
And the one thing we
Game
haven't
tiga,
factored
game
in, of
tiga.
course, is just a bit of blind luck, Dan. Sometimes you gotta hope that RNG goes your way, and it didn't that
Game
time
tiga,
around
game
for
tiga.
Virtus Pro. As we head into the final game now of World's Edge, we're ready to get the action back under the way, get those guns firing and those abilities fighting their way
Oh,
across
gua
World's
pindahin
Edge.
OBS
And
sini.
Dan, looks like we're going over to the
Kayak
west
CBL lah,
side of
kayak
World's Edge
CBL lah.
here. We could be going for a little trip towards Mirage Trois.
Yeah, it's a somewhat similar rotation for a lot of
Siapa
these
yang
teams
menang
are going to be on the
tadi
eastern
game
side,
3?
but zone-wise it is going to be pulling a little bit further, you would imagine.
Game
There's still a
3,
chance it
game
could
3.
pull, it could just pull right
Game
back
3.
towards the landside
Game
side
3 sih.
again, but
Game
should,
2, game 2
considering where this
Dino
zone is
anjir,
touching.
dinosaurus,
So Dory
cok.
are gonna have ring console over
Yang
towards
menang.
Mirage Trois. They'll be able to
Dino,
be the first team to
Dinos,
really set up
Dinos.
shop. Liquid as well, also be able to
Dinos
do more
itu
of a
anjir
say.
yang menang.
Now, we are starting to see more Valkyries.
RRQ masih belum main,
part of
RRQ
the
nanti
equation here.
malam.
Not a ton. It is going to be Maggie as the main
Lots of
difference
Maggie,
maker, which again follows the
RRQ
exact
mainnya nanti
same
malam,
legend bans
iya.
that we've had so far in the previous series. I think every single series we've had so far.
A bit of Wraith, would you see a Pathfinder in there as well? Also Sparrow being run by Unlimit, and Sparrow Bangalore Alta actually for Unlimit, so you can see what their game plan is.
Yeah, Unlimit, the only team not running Maggie by the looks of it. Even the Pathfinder and the Wraith that you mentioned has been run alongside Maggie. She has a 95% pick rate, so expect a lot of Riot drills and wrecking balls going into this next one. And actually, if it is a Mirage finish, that could be a fun one to watch.
Team Liquid are in a good spot to start off here. They're over at Lava Fissure. Should be able to. The good news for them is they don't have to worry really about anyone rotating in from that west side because of the fact that that's the edge of the map. Nobody's going to be able to get there. VP close to them, hoping that they can find a better spot, just turn around and get a little bit more RNG going their way when that zone pulls.
Well, Liquid maybe just going to be worrying about Wolves and when are they going to arrive.
Guys, ada yang nonton ini nggak?
A thorn in their side.
Nonton.
For Dory, they
nonton.
haven't been able to loot too much on Mirage Tour. I'm going to be honest, I don't like the loot on Mirage Tour. I actually find it to be one of the most annoying POIs to have to play.
Kucing kotor.
Mainly because my headphones are usually too
Kucing
loud.
kotor.
You have to blaze music at yourself just to get any loot on board. But
get overstimulated,
I do. So. I mean, honestly, if it was a final circle on Mirage Tour, I'd just press the button just to try and annoy everybody.
Well, elsewhere, away from where we're seeing our end zone potentially taking place, we're over at Climatizer where we have Vision. And also Team Heretics who are working their way down there from Overlook. So it looks like Team Heretics are heading down.
Parah relate banget, cok. Masalahnya sama gua. Kagak bohong gua. Kagak bohong gua, Ki. Relate banget, Tuh anim ya. Wah, parah relate-nya minta ampun anjing.
Now Vision for me are a team that if they can get to the finals,
Kamar berantakan.
you know, they have the pedigree
Kamar
to be able to
berantakan.
get to the late
Terus
games.
ngerokok. Lebih milih rokok, lebih milih beli rokok daripada beli makanan.
Definitely would be a team to watch if
Itu
they
gua
get
banget.
there, but so far
Gua banget
they've
anjir.
really been
Animasinya bagus. Iya.
gaining the headlines in the newspapers.
Emang nih kalau gue bilang
Down to
animasinya
Kilby,
bagus
but
sih.
that's probably going to be an easy pickup as Falcons make their rotation.
Gue lagi sako. Iya. Wah, wah, ngaco itu ngaco banget Ki. Sumpah itu lucu banget anjing. Anime itu gak bohong dah.
Quite something, and that's probably because they've seen this fight taking place right now. Aurora.
Oh, come on. Aurora PH. Enggak, ini bukan Aurora PH guys sih.
They get the finish as well and they secure themselves 1 point.
It's a Mia on a Mia action.
Sumpah, bener dah.
We stop that. Let them go.
Itu anim relate anjing. Masalahnya tuh gue nunggu pas di teaser kan, udah di teaser tuh. Wah, gue nunggu anime kemarin pas muncul langsung gue tonton anjir. Pas muncul langsung gue tonton tuh anime.
Expected, only the 9th place in their finish.
Rokok handal.
And we know for what if Aurora
Ya,
going, right? They can just absolutely destroy some of these lobbies.
Itu anjir yang jadi adiknya. Oh iya, itu juga parah sih. Yang jadi adiknya begitu, Cok. Adiknya tapi cinta banget, cinta. Cinta banget. Adiknya cinta banget sama kakaknya, Cok.
Respawn village that Zipline Mafia just hit that survey beacon on themselves.
Lucu anjir.
So I'm not sure if they know they're being shadowed for now. Maybe a couple of bullets just being exchanged may have given them a little bit of an idea. There is of course an Evo half and a survey beacon at the respawn village for Team Heretics to hit to get up towards purples. I think for anyone who's on the edge of this, you have to be on purple. You have to have the armor. You have to have the full perks available for your legends to fight your way in. Otherwise, you're just going to fall over.
Itu, supaya itu ketahuan banget.
That being said, the same thing can be said
pemilik kos. Gue nggak tahu dia jomblo atau emang duda. Terus gak nemu lagi langsung lihat gitu langsung.
Scene of the crime.
Itu lucu banget. Lucu banget. Wah parah. Parah itu lucu banget. Lucu banget anjing. Lucu banget. Agak lain tapi bagus banget. Itu bagus banget. Bagus sih kalau belum. Shopify masih 2v2.
They're going to take control of this door as well with that Watson fence. So Shopify Rebellion a little bit trapped inside of the building right now.
Oh my.
Going to try and queue out here by using Ultra if they're going to take the straight fight. Zap
Oh my.
is going to be down. Shopify Rebellion are going to be down, and Dexter and Ziki will clutch. Shopify.
Akhirnya Genji membalaskan dendam yang tadi, Cok.
As Genji
membalaskan dendam yang tadi ya guys ya.
We have pulled a little bit to the north here of where Mirage Etoile is. So Team Liquid in a fantastic position.
GG Genji nih. Anjir, streamer kita, anjir. Banyak kan makan kecubung. Ya anjing. Tapi gila sih, Cok. Tapi gila itu anime. Maksudnya animasinya bagus. Bagus ya setelah sekian lama. Setelah sekian lama anim. Setelah sekian lama anim gak ada yang animasinya kayak begitu ya. Gue nunggu ternyata sebagus itu. Wah anjir, respect anjir. Respect, Cok. Respect.
This is the map overhead. You can see on your screen now where that zone is pulling up towards the train tracks, probably towards the cut.
Ki,
Team Liquid are very
sekarang OBS gue udah bisa begini, Ki. Anjir gak sih? Ayo.
Wolves are going to probably try and fight for it a little bit later on in this game with where they've positioned themselves, but they've also got Aurora Team Vision hovering around the countdown side, trying to wrap that whole side. So a lot of business has to be taken care of as we jump into that area of the map now, and the Arca is down, but he's being rezzed.
It's a 2v2 as well. They also got the knock onto Vision. So both teams being able to trade off. That's why you're seeing a little bit of a poke battle right now. Neither overcommitting. But now they're both back up to a 3. You can see Lota just got rezzed on his birthday. Happy birthday, there's your present.
Kalau yang kemarin kan cuma ngefet doang tuh biasa ya. Hitam. Enggak, ini sekarang udah bisa gue. Baru belajar tadi.
Talking about weaponry options.
Baru belajar tadi.
With an RE45, that certainly does give you big damage output. Lota trying to squeeze his way away. Takes a lot of damage.
Aurora. PSN itu apa ya? PlayStation Store.
But now you're seeing Wolves Esports wrap behind. Falcons get involved in this as well. It's a 4-team pile-up inside of this building.
Yeah, you probably want to get out of here if you're Aurora, and that's exactly
mau di-third anjir sama Falcon.
And you go back to somewhere that you can hopefully
kembali, Cok.
It'll be safe. You can get the recall on one, but you do lose effect.
Lambang dolarnya aja lagi.
As he has been described.
Lambang dolar apa nih, Ki?
Not only are able to push in and force the team away, it means they can create a little bit of space to work with themselves and get back to where they originally started.
Lambang dolar apa, Jir?
Game as well, playing the kind of chokes outside of the main building of Countdown, where those fights were taking place. Till NP. Chip someone off of an
membership.
Belum
gope ya guys ya. Share aja ke grup keluarga, suruh subscribe sampai gope. Bener gua. Share aja, Ki. Share live ini ke grup keluarga lu, grup sekolah. Siapa tahu ada yang demen Apex, demen game-game gacha. Ya kan? Ambil 500. Tanggung ini 290 lagi. 290 lagi.
Они смеги, пацаны, не будут нас дрочить сейчас. Меги нам ничего не сделает, она полностью не выжигает все.
Sama ini сih, Cok. Gue watch hour kurang sih anjir. Parah ya, gimana yang nge-push ya watch hour ya?
Так, теперь нам надо... Тебе надо квадратик будет потом начекать глазками. Бля, может уже сейчас пойти начекать?
Setahun kudu 2000 ya? 2000? Kayak 2000.
Да.
2000 ke 3000 ya?
Стоять нормально.
Banyak.
Bisa ada пацку. Ладно, не нокать, да. Раз, два, три, go. Давай. Вот там катуха. Да не зря он пикает, 20. Вот, мне сэр пикает, 70 дал.
Нет, не горит.
Я вернулся.
Лево не вижу.
Coba lu ini dah.
Бля, вот там не
dengerin komsnya dah. Koms ini parah, Cok, anjir. Koms Pro tuh tenang banget, nge-chill. Dipancing GA. Giveaway kan maksudnya. Kalau giveaway sponsor sih. Sponsornya masih belum tahu. Enggak, ya sponsor sih harus. Nggak mau. Kalau modal sendiri Anjing pengangguran modal sendiri. Kalau gawe kemarin gue masih bisa dah. Lagi nganggur. Nganggur banget.
Falcons still in that position that we talked about with the choke. And the rest of countdown to their back.
Ini tanda jadi streamer yang serius ya. Streamer serius gua. Streamer serius. Gua.
Only the 4 points to report so far. A couple of KP here onto Yans and the rest of Team Heretics might change the story.
Beli kopi aja masih susah. Gue kopi ya. Kopi sama rokok. Rokok sih yang susah gue. Kopi sih aman coy. Kopi aman, makan aman lah ya. Rokok doang. Digas. Digas. Digas mau nggak mau cok. Tahu lagi ngeres. Digas sama tim Liquid. Udah pasti. Falcon ketemu Genji nih. Genji tim Vision. Oh, PSN tuh tim Vision. Ini kalau diambil mau nge-F Genji. Hilang.
But Genji, hot off the back of a big team fight win, of course, against Shopify Rebellion a little bit earlier in this game, will want to take this fight in the kill.
Guys, sia-sia gua gak subscribe channel lu, anjing. Bangsat. Abid. Ternyata Abid bukan subscriber, cok.
11th place will be the finish for Falcons. As Genji still being applied on that pressure by Vision.
32 seconds left. Someone has to blink here in this fight, otherwise the zone is going to really become a
Oh my god.
Dexter, Ziki, Team Vision gone. Genji win another fight here.
Genji. KP-nya 6 anjir. Mayan. Sini tim Asia. Siapa lagi anjir?
They might have one of the easiest routes into this zone, aside from Team
Ya
Liquid,
awalnya
who
streamer
do find
biasa
themselves
makan nasi,
pretty
semua
much
makan nasi nggak
central
sih?
to where we're going to be finishing. Versus Pro also
Semua
holding
makan
the
nasi,
tracks right
Biet.
now, or should I say underneath the tracks right now.
Yeah, VP's position is good for
Kecuali yang nggak bisa makan nasi tuh, yang makan nasi muntah tuh baru. Dia nggak makan nasi, gue masih makan anjing.
Is probably hoping he can find some slightly better angles to try and collect a few of those kill points. Dory, who we saw dropping over at Mirage, well, they're still here right now. But they're going to have to move in a few moments' time unless they want to try and play this corner, but it's a very, very tight area to play.
Tick, tick, and a little bit of a boom. But Dog Red are going to be right there, as we will see Kirasami Havoc get eliminated from the lobby at the same time. Dog Red below them just trying to set up shop.
Abid langsung klarifikasi anjing. Abid klarifikasi, Jok. Abid klarifikasi. Nyantai Bit anjir. Gue juga coba bercanda.
Ooh, super charge is good enough from Ziki. It's going to be Zipline Mafia now out the lobby. More KP for Genji. Liquid might be next. Genji are not safe. Where they find themselves right now.
Game gacha ya, masih dari game gacha anjing. Gue pengen main game gacha juga bingung game apa cok. Takut nggak kuat anjir main gua.
Damage coming in from numerous longbows will get that knock.
Ibu tadi ya. Iya nggak apa-apa Bit. Nggak apa-apa. Nggak apa. Dori, Dog Red. Itu ada Fufu Papa cok. Dog Fufu Papa. Silver Palace, gua udah ngeliat ininya Ki, kan apa namanya? Ngeliat sistem gacanya ya. Aduh, sistem gacanya kayak Enfield, gua males. Kali gacha 360. Nggak passion anjir.
As you get the armor swap, you can see Zero
Kenapa gak main
trying to overextend
Minecraft?
here, trying to keep the pressure onto them. He
Gua
doesn't
nggak
wanna
punya,
let them reset. He wants to
nggak punya
force their way
Minecraftnya.
to Team Liquid's position.
Ada tapi crack.
Panic coming to join it
Ada
now to
tapi
make sure
crack.
that is gonna be
Yang
uncomfortable.
T-launcher itu, T-launcher
Potentially
kan
can move
ini ya.
anywhere at the moment. The riot drill at least gives them a little bit of
Mahal banget.
separation.
Iya
If we
makanya
jump
anjing
over to the other side of the zone,
3.600 tuh
E36.
10. Gua ranti
VP looking to engage and Press is still
Gua ranti
got
dapet tuh 120 yang di up banner. Nah setelah lu gua ranti ntar gak dapet anjir, udah gak ada lagi. Gue udah males kalau sistem gak kayak gitu.
Should be taken down, but no! Obley with a Cravery zone onto Prestis. E36 will fall though, and it looks like they'll be able to get the reset here. Nobody is going to be able to wrap round to them because Liquid and Gen G are engaged on the other side of the zone. Dexter last alive. And just trying to survive. Second place will be good for him here.
Udah nggak apa ya, game itu tuh wah aneh tuh. Kalau yang udah kayak begitu ya sistem katanya gue nggak
In the hands of
banget
Prestis,
anjir.
one peek and one bullet can change the trajectory of this game. And I tell you what, Sykes was pretty
Jadi setelah
close to having his head
120 tuh
removed
lu
there.
nggak ada kemungkinan 50-50 kalau nggak salah. Bagaimana gitu loh.
And utilizing that Wraith to just reposition a little bit here.
The ball still being popped by both
Wah di F kah? Genji? Oh itu dia lah.
Zero's trying to force this. He wants to make it a straight 3v3. They want the KP
Uy.
secure second yourself.
Lah mau nggak mau itulah.
What they will do, but look at Panic. He gets forced through those fences. And even though he didn't go down, are they going to be healthy enough there to take a straight 3v3?
Ini ronde
He
terakhir ya.
gets the gen down, but that's going to be wiped out by the R9 here in Preston. Sykes has to hold.
It's great hold as well. He shreds through the
So
shield.
well.
Sykes has to be as aggressive as possible here.
Oh my god.
VP, Sykes has held the line.
Balik lagi gak tuh. Ditahan cok sama Sykes.
And off the back of Sykes holding. Now he slides in for his second potential
Gelo.
of this team fight. Liquid will
Ya
win it.
Virtus Pro anjing.
And
Lah,
that man in
Liquid
the
ya.
middle held strongest.
Oh ya ding Liquid yang di ini ya? Yang di rumah ya?
Liquid send themselves into first place
Liquid
after
yang rumah ya?
3 here on World's Edge. 45 points over these 3 matches. And maybe, just maybe, that makes up for that first match that Zero was so disappointed with previously. Because he has the last laugh as they go
Nih
into
udah
the break.
pre-download.
A great example there for people watching on how to control space when you have Godspot. How good were they at eliminating their threats, not letting them close to the Alamo that was their home.
Poin.
That building that was just where that endgame ended up taking place. Clearing that northern side, dealing
Game
with
satu
Gen G,
tadi.
making it a 3v3, and then a huge amount of credit to Sykes. We've talked about Panic, we've
Falcon.
seen what Zero can do. But getting that gen down on the roof,
Falcon.
and almost single-handedly at one point, holding off VP while the rest of Liquid got healthy. Sykes, you've got to
Sampai
take note of.
jenggotan.
As I stumbled over the word aggressive, it was exactly what he
Jenggotan
needed to
eh.
be. As soon as you've done that damage and you've had that crack on the shield,
Falcon.
by being a little bit aggressive, you force them back. You don't allow them to surround you. If he hadn't have been applying that damage, if he hadn't have been holding them
Oh
off,
bahaya
you've got
banget itu ada
serious
inian judi
knockdown,
anjing.
You're in a 3 versus 2. But it is trusting in his own ability, Sykes, that he knows he can hit his shots, he knows he can apply that pressure as an individual, and he just needed to give time for the rest of his team to get back to his help. And now Liquid will find themselves
Gelo,
in
GG.
first place, 45 points,
Falcon yang satu.
24 kills across the 3. And Dino's going to be behind them. Falcons
Ini sambil
win that
nge-stream ya.
1v1 with them in match 1. They are in third place as well. So
Nih,
it's
ini
not
sambil
all
nge-stream
doom
aja
and gloom
begini
for
nih.
them. Liquid are gonna
Apa
be
coba?
And the best thing for Liquid as well is the fact that every single player has had a moment in those first 3 games.
Main game lain ayo, bantai-bantai anjing. Cuma gua doang yang
Had a
bego.
huge moment, of course, yesterday. Zero had his moment in that 1v1 clutch that we saw in the second game. And almost a 1v3 clutch, it felt like in game number 1. And then Sykes showing how to play the perfect Watson position and be the anchor for
Gua
your
doang
team
yang
in those
bego
final moments.
anjir.
Think about how different it could have been as well for Team Liquid. You think about that match too, right? If they weren't sent on by VP in the end, if Wolves hadn't have taken that fight against them as well, they were in a pretty good position. We could have been seeing Liquid maybe 60 points after 3. Bear in mind, like 45 points after 3 is a fantastic total for them. If we were in the match point format, they would only be 5 away from crossing the threshold right now.
Well, they were very, very close indeed to crossing that threshold. And one team who's crossed the threshold and got that win on the board after qualifying, of course, for the Split 1 playoffs is going to be Dinos. We've got a member of their team down on the floor right now with Rain Day. Who have you got
Panas
for us?
banget.
All right, thank you so much, Onset and Gasky. Great call there. I am here, yes, with a member of Dinos, although Dinos and him do not have common in age because this man is 19 years old. J Future. Some might know you as Future Streams if they were grinding some 3 strikes, some Apex Legends casual matches earlier on. Yeah, like 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, you entered 2 pro splits, Challenger Circuit, and now you're playing at LAN at EWC. Talk about your journey from where you were just a little bit ago as a teenager now to being here at this moment.
Well, it's obviously a big difference playing in person versus online with Challenger Circuit. And with Challenger Circuit, you play for like 6 to 8 hour days, and here it's just a couple hours, but then you have so much like transport, which is also tiring. So it's a very different experience, but at the same time it's kind of similar. The difference is that you can see all of your fellow competitors and how amazing they are as well.
Bentar.
You know,
Chat gua hilang.
Ontario, Canada, I talked to you about have you done any other
Sosok
esports?
asli
No, but
admin.
you did remark to me
Sosok
that this
asli
moment feels
admin
more
ya guys ya.
comfortable to you
Ini sosok
than
asli
playing
admin
online.
guys.
Why is that?
I'm not honestly sure. but
Sosok
I think
asli
it's because of the
admin.
other people, like I just said. Like being able to see everyone, it just feels less intimidating. When online, they're just big giant personality, but then in person, they're like the same as you know?
Well, you got a great win, and one of the reasons why you can kind of lean on knowing what to do here is you've got a great coach, Kashera. He's one of our players, our pros, who's been in the scene for so long. What does he bring to your team?
Kashera has brought us like an immense increase of intelligence that kind of
Sosok pro player.
balances
Ini
out
dia
my
yang pro
experience
player
since
kok.
we're a newer team.
Dia yang pro
And
player,
his
bukan
immense
gua.
experience and knowledge is like just transferred into us.
Bukan
And
gua.
he's coaching us right now, making sure we're locked in every game. And like we would not be able to play as well as we are right now without him, for sure.
Well, you guys have been amazing in Pro League. I asked some of our other pros, vets who I'd interviewed, who do you have your eye on Dinos? Of course, all of you guys, Chaos, yourself were mentioned, but DJ was highlighted as well. Said this guy might be next up. What can you say about DJ Killer and his impact?
Ngopi guys.
DJ's biggest impact is not just his shooting ability; it's his vibes, as we've said before in other interviews. He's a jolly fellow for sure, and he's always cracking jokes. And
Ping me
keeping
when
us,
Imperial Hall.
spirits up for sure.
You know, I said jolly
Imperial
this morning.
Hall.
I said I don't say jolly unless
Ini.
you're talking about Santa Claus, but now there's another jolly following
Yeah.
me. Somebody else better
Tadi
not say jolly on
apa
this podcast,
dia
otherwise something's
perang
going
sama
wrong. Jay,
Vision
I wanna just
anjir.
ask one more thing as we head into it. When you look at now in this learning experience you found settled, what are some issues? What are some things you're noticing that
Aneh,
other
gua
teams
buka
are
di PC
doing
gak
really well that
kebuka.
maybe your
Live
inexperience
lu.
needs to
Buka
tackle
lah,
and get more
kocak.
comfortable with if you guys are going to go far in this tournament? What is there to
Harusnya
improve on over these next
kebuka.
couple of days?
Siapa yang
I'd say
nonton
our
gue di
biggest
PC?
problem right now,
Gak ada.
and something that a lot of more experienced teams are very good at is knowing when to go deeper into the zone. Whereas we like to usually just sit still
Ini live
and
gue
kill everyone
sendiri,
who's coming
mana
behind
live
us, hold
gua.
them all out. Sometimes there's an opportunity to push through, and you see a gap and you take it. But our lack of experience kind of prevents us from doing
Tapi
that sometimes.
bukanya
We're working
ini
on that. But I've seen other teams that are really, really good at doing that. So.
J Future, 19 years old on a land stage at Paris.
Buset
Congratulations,
bang,
my
lu
man. Good
minum
luck for the rest of
alkohol
these 3 games.
segede itu air
Thanks. They used to
putih
watch my YouTube
anjing.
channel, so I don't know.
Air
There's something to
putih,
it.
bangsat.
We'll go back to you guys. 2 more games coming up as we close out our first
Mata
set of the
kane,
day.
mata gue emang begini. Mata gue emang gede, bawahnya emang gede.
Whenever we let it out,
Nih air
it
putih
becomes
ya,
our superpower.
air putih, anjing.
Now imagine an entire
Sebel banget
city
gua.
being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by play.
Air putih guys, ini tuh. Ini nih, Bang Jan kocak anjing. Mata gue emang begini dari lahir. Mau diapain? Vodka bening, jir. Nih, ada sih. Ini vodka bening, guys. Vodka bening tapi udah habis. Ya kan? Udah habis. Ya.
Team Liquid, I don't know about
banyak
that
di belakang
drawing right
kamera.
there, but I know you guys have been performing
Pajangan,
great
pajangan.
as you finish the
Pajangan,
halfway
pajangan.
point of this series in first place. But we gotta go back and talk about Dinos because man, the step up that we've seen out of that team go from
Bang
day
Alwan
one
Master.
now to day
Udah
2
pernah, gue
They're
males
just wanting to
sebenarnya
shut
nih.
people up.
I mean, hey, I even doubted
Pengen
them in
nge-push
the
tuh gue
beginning as well,
males.
and they really did.
Timnya
Just
kocak
at that
anjing.
moment, but
Solonya,
I will
kalau
say
trio
the drop
gue gas,
staging, they had
cok.
2 back-to-back solos right on top of them.
Bisa
pretty
gua.
much. It means that they
Party
can
gue
close out the
hilang,
game,
party
and they did
gue
well and played
menghilang.
heavy. But when you're gifted with zone twice as well, you should
Coba
be bringing
tuh,
in points regardless.
I'm busting out the
coba
inflatable
jalan
T-Rex
dulu
suit
terus
then.
bolak-balik
Thanks,
3
man.
kali.
This is the moment I needed.
Well, they also mentioned that they want to make sure that they fix something that other
Nggak percaya
teams are
banget
really
orang.
good at, and that's going deeper into the zone. That's knowing when to actually
Nggak
push
percaya
in.
banget lu.
Is that something that
Woi.
they're going to be able to maybe adjust and do that today?
Gue percaya banget lu, woi, woi.
They got some good zones, but sometimes that's all you need to really get the momentum rolling for you as a team. And I think one of my favorite things about
Yakin
them
nggak percaya banget
and what I
anjing.
watched is that their team fighting was on point. There was a lot of baiting and switching. There were a lot of high-level gameplay going on to win the fights because sometimes, you know, you get those early zones, a team will push you, and you know, a team will push you and you won't be able to get that fight going on. And we're going to watch this a little bit right here. Is this the end zone from it?
Coba
Or is
jatuh
this
gak? Tadi aja gue berdiri gak jatuh anjing.
Gue
Gue ngapain nge-stream? Kalau mabok gue gak bisa anjing. Bangke lu Ki.
Get the kills. It looks really good. And one of my favorite things with Jay Future in that interview was the fact that he says he feels more comfortable here on land than he does
Tapi ini kamera
online.
fokus gak sih, Jin?
Specifically because, you know, online the big personalities, you know, a lot of these players have the big streams. Sometimes players will go check out what other streams are saying, you know, get in their heads. And here, being in person with everyone, it's like, hey,
Nggak
we
fokus ya?
prepared, everyone here prepared
Ya.
as hard as they could. If you prepared as to the best of your efforts, you should feel confident and comfortable coming into the land. And sometimes getting these big wins. is
Berdiri
all you need
doang
to
jalan
prepare.
bolak-balik.
Snap, these old pros better watch out because these young stallions are coming through and they're more articulate than some of our other players, of course. But look, I cannot agree with you more saying that. Like, it looks like they've just got their head in the game because they know exactly kind of where they need to be and how they need to get there. So they have to have that
Jalan
sort of
buat
mentality.
bolak-balik buat apa anjing
I
Ki? Buat
love that they're
apa?
able to kind of wake up,
Buat
right? And
apa
talking
gua
about
jalan
waking up, the opposite of
bolak-balik?
that, being able to sleep. J&G, it seems like they were able to definitely sleep as they are currently in 4th place after 3 games.
Kok rambut gue kayak gondrong banget dah? Digituin kayak diikat anjir.
Very happy to see that for now, but can they keep this up? This is, like you said, it's a good starter, but is it enough to close out
Nih
the
kopi,
series? We'll have to
nih,
see overall
nih kopi
for
gue
the
nih,
first
nih,
couple
nih,
of
nih,
games.
nih, nih,
Team
nih kopi
Liquid
gue,
on
nih
top
kopi gue,
in the
tadi
form that
penuh,
we
tadi
remember
penuh.
Zero at as well,
Nih
as we
kopi,
see the
nih,
Dinos
nih,
and
nih.
Falcons. Saw a little
Tadi
bit
penuh,
of
penuh,
rivalry
penuh.
where actually
Cangkir
Zero
gue
shit
segini
on
nih, cangkir.
But overall,
Cangkir
they closed
gua.
out the game. Still though, so far, so good.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Team Liquid, we saw the motivation after that game 1. I think Mylo was as frustrated as you could possibly imagine losing that fight. You know, the big kill on Hal was nice, but he did not close that out the way that you would have expected him to. He had the advantage on height going
Berapa
into
tadi dia?
multi and decided to drop down. And honestly, I
Bang,
think,
tulisan di
wow,
cangkirnya
actually,
apa?
seeing this page, seeing Shopify
In
at
loving
20th
memories,
place,
mengenang
oh,
1000
wow.
hari
I did
ayah
not realize
kami,
that Wolves as well
Ignatius
in 19th.
Sutarno.
I mean, man, some of the storylines going on with the top
100
teams
hari
that you expect to
ibunda
come into this
kami.
tournament, down at the bottom of the leaderboards, you know, this is not
FD
the typical,
Kusyat
you don't have the losers bracket.
ini
You need to step it up in this
menghadap
range, and
Bapa di
that is
surga.
wild to see. I did not realize that.
13 Juni 2015. Kami yang kami yang mencintai anak dan anak
I mean, he got the
anak,
revenge in the
mantu,
end,
dan
right? You know,
cucu.
in that last game where, you know, it was VP top 4 and stuff like
Ini-
that. So, you know, they're in a reverse revenge, but, you know, we love to see that sort of stuff. But
kenang-kenangan,
yeah, man,
kenang-kenangan.
I mean, Team Liquid looking great
Jelas,
at the top. But
kenang-kenangan.
yeah, I'm super surprised about Wolves today.
I mean, I'll definitely say it. They inted the hell out of
Ih,
them.
cewek
Why are you
tatoan
fighting
ternyata
this
guys.
early
Kemarin
and so
nggak ada
this close to
tatonya.
us? You just can't take that fight, immediately get punished. Honestly, it didn't even matter who won that fight. The 3P will happen regardless. You can't make those mistakes. And as you see, ended at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Sumpah dah, gua nggak
Definitely
bisa ngeliat
through,
nih fokus
it's
apa
only
kagak
been
dah.
3 games, but it hits hard.
So right here is actually what I was trying to refer to with Dino.
Ini,
This
ini.
is one of my favorite things, and thank you for having some Prowler action. I've been waiting for it this entire time. The team fighting here from Dinos was unbelievable, and we're going to focus on something that happened here, and I just want to kind of pick it up. When a lot of players get weak, we saw it when one of the players was in the truck, and he swung out and got one of the original kills, ended up down to only about 20 health. And instead of backing up and popping a battery where a lot of people think, oh, I need to be full health for this fight, he realized that one of his teammates started aggroing on someone who had vision on him. And instead of, like I said, popping that battery, trying to get full health, he just re-swung out. It's called a bait and switch, where as soon as that person has his attention on someone else, you pop out, high-level gameplay, you know you can put the damage down. Doesn't matter if you're 20 HP or not.
Bikin ginian dari mana ya, coy?
Line of sight, and they wipe that team fight. That happened about 3 different times.
Yang tulisan gue nih di bawah kamera gue.
I'm so happy to see the auto prowler come out.
EWC. Ini kan udah pasti ini clipping, di clipping kan. Yang kamera.
But the PS5 story of the day at the beginning of the day was Team Liquid versus Team Falcons. And guess what? It just so happened to politically work wonderful for us because that was one.
Kemarin udah gambar, gua kenapa gambar karakter kemarin ya? Buat apa ya?
In the first game today.
I mean, we could really see it throughout Team Liquid overall. They actually fought their way up that hill as well. We really expected them to close out this game after we saw that counterplay, essentially. They got engaged on after they wiped up Gen G here, coming down to the last 3v3. Zero turns on Halley. Actually hit a Kraber shot before, mind you. And then it comes down to this one-on-one. People say, hey, should Zero actually have left?
Oh, Falcon tuh game 1.
It still came down to the 1v1. He definitely did.
Falcon tuh game 1 ya?
I mean, you watched it, well, we missed it there a little bit, but Waltzy just followed the same pattern that he did, took that height, and that was sort of the end of them. So it was, just that copy and the...
Well, I actually have a question for you guys, right? Because
Oh iya, cowok. Game 1, champion anjir.
You choked.
Yeah.
When you were a
Kill 11, the heck?
Because you're an ex-pro here. When you have somebody, one of your rivals doing that to you, what's going through your mind? Obviously, it ended up working wonders for Zero because of where they currently are. But when you're seeing this from your rivals, what's going through your mind?
I mean, as pissed as you could possibly imagine. That, and for me, getting angry was fuel for me, and I always played better while being upset. So
CEO taunting, cowok. Waltzy juga taunting.
And you use that as motivation, and we saw that. And I think that's why Zero was so mad in that second game when they got inted, because you want to take that anger and put it into the next game. But they obviously brought that to the third game. Now they're at the top of the leaderboard. So regardless of losing that fight, I know there's some pride on the line with that one, especially going against one of your ex-big teammates, Waltzy. But overall, I mean, they're killing it today. They're way ahead of the pack, and we see it did motivate them. So overall, that's how you have to use it.
I mean, there's really only 2 ways you can go. Some people get discouraged and be like, oh no man, I messed up, now they're tilted. Or you can use it, as you said, as fuel to come back even harder and to close out those discussions. And boy, did he do it so far. Look at them, look at the overall stage so far.
I mean, let's look at this overall, right? This is currently, don't worry, there's still some teams that are going to be coming in later. A lot more matches to come. I mean, Team Liquid right now, 98 points.
Yeah, I'm like, god damn, I'm popping a little squat now. Like, when? I mean,
Team League.
yesterday's performance was
Oh, ini
incredible.
yang kemarin ya?
And today, that is just absolutely turned around. Maybe we have to
Satuin ya?
sort of maybe tell them that they're choking a little bit more just so we can see those numbers again. But, some of these teams have sort of moved up in this position. Aurora obviously needs to play again today. There's a fair few teams that, haven't actually, replayed. But look, Gen G slightly moving up the leaderboard from their performance. Still have a little bit more way to go. But, they've got, 3 more matches. I reckon they could push their way closer to that top 10 mark.
I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. I mean, it's a great bounce back for that team.
On the team, mate.
Considering with what happened with them, right? How they just we had them tweeting out yesterday using that hashtag EWC, saying we just arrived. We're about to start playing, and we're just currently in the vehicle as well. Now, going into this next 3 matches, I got a chance to talk about with Jelly, actually, that's going to be playing into the later groups. And he was saying, we're looking to have a great game today. So tomorrow, we're not going to have that pressure on us. We really don't want to have that pressure on us. So we'll see what they're going to be able to do. You know what? I was going to ask.
Kok nggak ada MBG ini, Cok?
Maybe in the next one after this break.
Kemarin MBG banyak banget, anjir. MBG terlalu banyak kemarin. Sekarang nggak ada. Mana sih chat gua? Chat gue hilang-hilangan.
Apex Legends Global Series Split 1 playoffs at the EWC 2026 I'm Vicky Kitty. I'm joined with my girl Spider Tiff, and we're gonna be taking you guys through
Spider
E-District.
Tiff anjing udah lama nggak ngeliat.
3 games between these two groups, Tiff, because it's been nothing but cinema all day long. And I mean, what else can you expect when you have these Titans facing off against
Lihat.
I mean, let me just tell you, I was sipping
Lihat,
some
aduh
coffee this
ketutupan
morning, and we
aduh
were talking,
ketutupan
is it
inian
gonna
gua,
be
Cok.
L? Is it going to be Zero? Who's going to be standing out
Ketutupan
B versus D? But as
ketutupan
we look
face
forward
cam.
towards E-District, you know, the Falcons didn't have the best E-District yesterday, but maybe we could...
Falcon mana Falcon?
When you look at the POI draft just ahead of you,
Di mana Falcon? Oh dia di itu di mana, Cok? Alton ya?
as opposed to Stadium, which really isn't too big of a difference. They're just a bit further north.
Alton
I'm
ya?
okay with their rotations. You know how they were. They were all over the map
Hah?
regardless with resets and such.
Apa Broadwalk?
You got Team Liquid playing from Lotus as opposed to
Energy
Resources, could be a
Bank.
little bit further east.
Galeria.
They don't have to worry
Oh,
about
bukan.
Alliance in this group, right? Because they were just further south of them, a lot of contention points there. For S8UL,
Sebelah-
very zone-oriented team. I'm actually really happy that they were
nggak tahu
able
ah.
to acquire Neon Square yet again. So
Lupa anjir.
it's looking to be maybe a little bit of the same as we got yesterday. My only hope for this group is that we don't see all of the southern zones in E-District that we got. We did get those 2 Fun City Hall area zones, and those did shake up the lobby.
You know what happens if you say that though, Tiff?
Did I curse it?
It ends up cursing everything. You know what? And then you have to see if that's going to be how these end zones play out as we get to take a look at Falcons. A nice little panorama, too, to highlight what the results have been looking like already after these last 3 games alone on World's Edge. I can't ever get enough of World's Edge. I know a lot of people have been used to playing on it, seeing it all in Pro League. I could get even more, but it's even nicer to see a different type of setting when it comes to E-District, everybody. It's game number 4 on the horizon as our pros are locked and ready, and Team Liquid holding that first place spot with 45 total points after dropping a banger of a game 3 dub with 13 KP to their name.
District World Edge District. Oke, game 4 District ya.
When it comes to futures, is getting the understanding of how these young gun legends have been able to get this inexperience and convert it into having a great performance on land.
Yeah, this is exactly where you want to continue that great performance. I was talking to just a few people before I walked up into the caster booth today, and they're like, you know, no one's really taking a hold on that leaderboard, aside from these 2 teams, right? Team Liquid, Falcons. So, of course, we want to see what's going on with them to start off up here at the Lotus. After the bans, though, Gibby, Valk, Newcastle. Quite interesting here.
And you know what? We were actually discussing as we take a look at where the zone's pulling. You are saying if we're going to see any more southern zones. Well, guess what? We probably have a draft point zone that's going to be pulling towards the outskirts of draft point. Surprise, surprise, when it comes to these E-District zones. But highlighting the conversation that we were having in the green room about the different legend compositions and how you could try to force out some of these bans before you convert into a different map. Would you rather deal with a Mad Maggie and the Riot Drill when it comes to coexisting on all these buildings on E-District, or when it comes to maybe a Gibby being brought into the mix, right? And it's a lot of these questions where when you usually see Crypto at 100% pick rate get removed within our 6-game series after game number 1 alone, it enables the likes of Watson. It enables the likes of having the Caustic out into the play. And that's why you're seeing a lot more of that influx here, as you get to see a lot of these Watsons, the Gibbies on top of it all. But I also like the inclusion of a different mix up here. It's the Axels also, the Valkyrie with a baby comp, and I'm not surprised because you have to have that human UAV when she takes the skies in scanning which of these buildings in the late zone is going to be available for you to play off of.
Yeah, I mean, totally. As we look here at Wolves, currently in 19th place overall in the day. Not the strongest performance so far out of this group, but
Oh my god.
is their
Nice shot.
strongest map of the tournament. So taking this engagement here, being the only team to have their IGL on Rampart. Very identifiable. With the wall down and the mobile shield, we're going to have to find a way around.
Some more of these teams now as Wolves are going to be able to hold on.
Kenapa di drop anjing?
But the action has not stopped as we take a look at Zipline Mafia on the other end of having to deal with the Axel. Tyraka, who is the first victim as he gets dirtied.
First blood.
For Zipline Mafia. Not
First
so great
blood,
start.
Aurora.
Aurora, seeing if they're going to be able to reset fully here. And looking ahead, too, with the other teams who are also making their move. And this is what you can expect when it comes to these different compositions, too. You bring in the baby comp, you got the Valkyrie, and she's babysitting. It's going to be a different look as they're going to be able to find some landing spots with Aurora, who are now forced to play as a duo. Zipline Mafia are out for blood, and they're looking to capitalize.
Di app anjir langsung begitu, Cok. Udah kayak rank bangke.
So not good. The other player at least does have
purple, but an easy cleanup for them to leave Aurora as a solo.
Damn.
They did have that information on where he was located, but for now, we'll see. We already burned the Valkyrie. 11% away from the defensive bombardment, but for now you can just see Genji to the
Genji.
on the prowl behind them. They're going to
Genji, tim Falcon, Zipline Mafia.
All right, hold on. We got to look over to the other side here as Zipline Mafia now start moving forward. Talk about what's waiting for them though here. Shopify were also trying to get contested with the survey beacon while Zipline Mafia walking away after getting that KP with Falcons. You already mentioned looking on the horizon to see if they could 3P, but that's not the only thing too, right? Because you have that survey beacon and ring console once you come out of those bunker doors that you can see Zipline Mafia. And they were able to quickly turn things around, and Aurora now down to just that solo. At least with Falcons showing up, they allowed that solo from Aurora to have some respite. So let's see if they're going to be able to fully reset while Falcons now move up towards that survey beacon ring console where Genji are at.
Yeah, and the best part about that is the Falcons are running Wattson, so they will be able to utilize that ring console. But however, Genji encroaching on that territory will stand tall for that time being. Team Heretics, on the other hand, they're on that northwestern side of the circle in which Team Liquid has been rotating into. You can see the enemy pings going about, but I'd love to go ahead and grab this Evo Cash prior. And they're going to do just that. They do have ultimates in tow in case they do get into an engagement with Team Liquid. If I'm Team Liquid, though, I want to focus on getting into that circle. Zero zone calling has been edge.
And that's why they've been able to find so much consistency so far within this group, keeping their first place spot, as Heretics were trying to mirror them originally before now trying to prioritize those objectives, boosting up those Evo shields as well as the information off the survey beacon. And as they are going to be able to move up towards that northern spot, other teams like Unlimit and Zipline may be facing off against each other for the fight of that information too. Perfect cue here as Zipline Mafia lose out on one. Full 3 squad though, or 3-man rather, with Unlimit now moving up. They have the priority over on the survey.
Oh my god, nice.
Says Peace does the opposite of what Peace means after finding Kazakh again. And now Unlimit want to be able to capitalize off of this, especially since they're one of the teams rocking the fuse.
The best part about that is it was the Newcastle player, Kazakh, right? He's the one that initially went down. They prio-to-res him to get him back on his feet. So if we need to, we can slam a mobile shield down and make sure we have a bit of cover. When it comes to groups B versus D, Unlimit are really strong in this matchup. They took 3 top 3 finishes, and they haven't really showed us what they could do on our World's Edge side of things early on. So maybe E-District is where they turn it around because we're outside 10th place, Vicky. And we're starting to get closer to the point where you want to avoid the survival stage.
Yeah, right? Because now, since you find yourself in that midpoint, you're seeing some of these Legends compositions come out with a...
Oh my god.
Still finding these shots off the longbow, man. Peace. Love what we're seeing, you know, when you have the different changes moving up with around like he's on a trampoline with his own knuckle cluster. In the distance, though, they hear the shots. As Flat also get a knock in the feed. The Axel, Bell going out. Ilari Man's looking with a double ult.
Oh, sampai buang 2 ult. Sampai buang 2 ult, cok. Haus KP.
Of the situation here, and Unlimit gonna be able to let that Valkyrie go out for now because they got the KP that they wanted. Still 20 squads left though in this lobby. Remember what we saw very early on when it came to Aurora, who were able to get that full reset. So now we have to see if Zipline Mafia do something similar, as well as Dory, who are now moving away as a duo. Both of those teams.
Aduh, anjir.
If you take a look at Shopify, who'll be rotating over onto the fan side, Egg coming into Viaduct, as well as Falcons, who are now taking that roundabout rotation through the choke that exits out of Hammond.
Well, I love what Team Vision is doing here, and I love that you're highlighting Shopify as well, but Team Vision has sent their Wattson player out into the ring to make sure we can snag the ring console at Street Market, so when it comes to their rotation, we can guarantee that we're not on the wrong side of an E-District pop. Once we get into endgame, oftentimes we've seen a lot of our teams call one side of a certain area, and then we see this massive exodus that's required once it pops to the other side. They get that information. You know Zach Mazur's going to be talking to Loader and Carter and say, all right, where do we want to play from? But when you look at the circle, you already have TLN Pirates, our French roster, who didn't do the best on day 1, but that's okay. We put them in a decent spot, but they have the Falcons at their back across this building, right? So we are just basically going to be staring at each other.
RRQ mana? RRQ nanti abis game ini B sama D, nanti dia di C, A sama C.
recognizing that.
Wah, Fufu Fafa kenokin orang, Cak.
To the bridge that leads into Viaduct, that is rather open actually, especially on that second floor, because they did hear another team.
Ini zonanya kemana sih?
Behind them, but Genji don't commit to that choke that we saw Falcons now rotate from, and now Genji are trying to face off against Aurora, who once again were able to get that full reset, but they're still feeling the pressure. Genji wanted to clean up that southern side of zone so that way they could clear out that side of bridge, while Dino see this little side by side of the fans trying to give them their energy, but you can see the dome put in.
Oh my god.
By Shipyard Arcade. Aurora and Genji
threat.
finally facing
Threat
off
dari.
against each other with Asia getting the finishing
Yeah.
onto Oirein.
Reminder, Oirein was the solo from Aurora, and they tried to go ahead and hit a regain. Genji, who's been looking much better than yesterday, which I can only imagine. Effects, though, says you can't.
Nge-whiff dia. Dia nge-whiff.
Wait, I'm gonna grab this full shield swap. Okay, where's Zicky?
Dia nge-whiff, Cok.
Pulls it off. He pulls it off. He gets the finishing blow on both of them now, actually.
Oh, he baits the zip.
This is so smart. Can he get the death box res is the question. He gets the banner for right now. Looks up. He doesn't want to try to risk it because he is playing on low ground too. A little bit of these open positionings here, as you can see, Dog also now moving.
Gak kena anjing.
With Effect being the last one alive for Aurora, trying to keep the dream alive here.
Dia gak kena nembak.
Scattered triple team with Dograt being the only full trio, but they only sent that one player towards the bridge to see if they could 3P. They're also one of the teams rocking the Axel, as we're going to be able to see Zicky pull off the res off the Moby.
He gets it. He goes down to Shipyard Arcade, hits the craft, gets the res off, and you know that Effect inside that circle is going to be like, I'm waiting to do this
Nih,
yet again.
gimana ya?
He takes a different angle, but you know you're not going to be alone. I see
Genji bisa terbang, bisa terbang.
Team Vision, even after getting the information, did not rotate in yet, but we'll keep tabs on that. There's likely going to be a breakout fight.
So smart with E36 now going down, 18 squads still left.
Walah, ini zona tengah ya? Apa street market? Tengah sih. Langsung dikejar anjir.
And they take the rest of Aurora out of this lobby.
Genji doing
Perfect.
exactly what they needed to do.
Iya,
Coming into
tengah
the
kan.
series, they were sitting just one place outside that auto
Oh, street marketnya udah lewat ya?
being able to advance to the survival stage, and they're currently third in our series. But now, as we pull up that circle, we talked about Team Vision. They're south, looking
Ini
for
zona
that info
kocak
from
anjir.
Shipyard Arcade. They'll have a clear
Rumah.
rotate towards the north.
Oh, rumah yang ini udah
Central
diisi,
point
ini
will
udah
be Dogred.
diisi.
Over towards the east, you have
Lah di sini
Falcons
satu
set up,
doang.
Zipline Mafia just
Oh, dia
to the
bisa.
side. And honestly, the French TLN Pirates, they've had a power position.
Anjing, ini
inside that
jembatan,
circle,
Cok.
And playing's very split too, right? Because again, they're also one of the teams rocking that altar. They have that TP set up inside the building in case they need to reposition quickly, sending one of their teammates out on top of the bridge where Shopify Rebellion are trying to coexist around them, just putting the pressure with Falcons being right alongside them. But with so many of these other teams committing to playing a little bit more so towards that northern side of
Zona yang gak enak banget anjir.
we saw where that zone is pulling, Tiff. We know it's going to be pulling more so towards that bridge side where Dog Red are kind of hugging by
Zona rumah samping jembatan. Apa sih itu namanya anjing? Bawa drop point. Drop point, drop point.
Oh, I'm ready for this. Genji, Team Heretics have found each other on the outside of circle, passing like ships in the night, and we go straight for White Grim Reaper Neo. Now, if you remember WGR Neo from yesterday, they put up a 15-kill map win, and Genji has to push through them. So to immediately take that damage from the triple take is going to make this difficult because we need the climb up. We need to push WGR back.
And Neo are playing like out of their minds, trying to carry some of that momentum into today. Seeing with the way that Team Liquid have been able to hold on to that first place spot, one of the
Dia ngambil rumah ini.
comp though in the middle of a lot of the action with Shopify also neighboring to their south as well as Unlimited who've now moved up. But Neo, as they are approaching Genji,
Mau zona sini, Cok.
see them boosting
masih
away
zona,
with a bunch
anjir.
of go-karts as they try to race off, but Dog Red are just waiting for them on the outskirts of this next zone pool, which they had that information for before, but they're busy with Team Heretics looking at them to try to take that fight. So two isolated fights here as we get to see VP now eliminated at the hands of Dino.
You're telling me the Dinos, after a map 2 win, go to E-District and have found their first clean fight. They are feeling good. They had that interview. He's like, look, I'm playing better.
My God.
I'm feeling more confident.
Genji.
But here's the fight we were waiting for. Genji and Neo immediately get that knock, but the trades come in.
2v1, Cok. 2v1. Gas.
Trying to pull off this this shield bat. Ziki dropping down like a hot potato.
Ya!
Fake out though, dropping right in front of the door.
1v1 anjir. Genji reset. Reset S. Wah, digas di F langsung gak sih? Oh enggak, backup dah. Backup dah.
Genji, this fight is being drawn out in time is of the essence. In 25 seconds, we have to get to that circle, and Dogred is going to capitalize on a nice third party if they're not too careful.
Taking their time too while they're still looking at Team Heretics because they feel a little bit of that pressure, but they're looking in both directions, right? With still Genji, with still Neo, neighboring that building right alongside them, but Dinos playing split up too, very similar to what we were seeing earlier when it comes to Pirates, yeah. And it's honestly about clearing up that north side of zone too, because they know that there's going to be a collapse there with SAUL, with Kirisame Havoc, as well as Shopify, who eventually will be able to move up towards that bridge.
Here's the thing though with Dinos, is they're being held at bay by SAUL and a triple take from Jesco. So we've got to keep tabs on that.
Ih, zonanya kocak.
Mid-range, but thankfully with Val, we don't have to go on foot. We're now getting the location of everyone in our lobby, and it's like, hey, what's available? Chaos maybe? Falcons in an electrified bubble down below looking to heal. And
GG Dori.
Straight
NT.
the angles. Let's see. It's down. Our get out of jail free card.
Being one of the few teams not rocking a Valkyrie, right? When everybody's taking to the skies, it's like the William Dafoe meme, looking up, but it's like a billion Valkyries trying to find their spot into this next zone.
Gila ya, tiga tim kayak tuh. Satu kompon anjing.
But it's a huge pile up in that one building that we were talking about from the very beginning. When it came to Pirates, it's Genji, Pirates, Falcons out of that situation, by the way, looking at that entire mess and saying, don't worry, we'll poke at you from afar.
We'll get it. Meanwhile, we lose out on WGR Neo. We lose out on Shopify Rebellion, who are having kind of a dud of a series, but Unlimit. We talked about them having the chance to take 3 top 3 series in a B versus D matchup, and let me tell you, we're on 7 kills and we're looking pretty good.
Satu kompon 3 orang anjing, gelo. 3 tim. Gelo.
Wolves, who know that E District is their best map, are one of the only teams in the next circle.
Unlimited are also just riding out this momentum. They have like 7 KP to their name. They're putting in so much damage, which goes hand in hand when you're running a composition like that. You got the Fuse, you have the Sparrow, and the Axel. Almost like I'm rubbing my eyes like it's another day of range. Well, Genji,
2v1. 1v1. Mau nggak mau yang paling atas itu langsung start anjir.
To clutch out because Falcons have now knocked on the door and moved up like the Kool-Aid men.
And they are going to be poised, but Gil tries to take the challenge.
Falcon mau nge-third kah?
RE45 in hand shut them down. But trying to keep an eye on Waltzy, who's walking up.
Gila.
Doubles already been popped. Cooldowns will need to be managed. And I'd imagine once Guild hits the med kit, we are going to re-attack this. 6% until Pylon, but
oh my god,
Dogred, they're going at it. It's Panic needing to clutch. We've seen it before. It looked a little different.
Panic bisa nge-clutch kah?
What do? Do we disengage away from this 5% away until we have ult?
The comms though, I like the way that Panic is slowing down, listening to Zero here while Falcons still has a full 3 man are looking to pop this med kit for now because they're gonna have to take some of this circle damage unless you are. The altar going right through his zipline waiting for on the
oh my god.
At least one member of zipline is still
Falcon. Falcon ente cok.
Now TLNP though, Panic.
Marah-marah CEO.
Did wait out on that Valkyrie, by the way, that you had mentioned before, or at least was able to go up and fly around Dog Red, try to see if they can find a spot to exist with all these teams facing up against each other as Unlimit get eliminated.
Wolves down, Unlimit down, Kirisame Havoc out, and Team Liquid Panic cannot recreate the success yesterday, but that's okay for Team Heretics. They find a lot of space and a cheek straight towards Dog Red, Dinos, and SAUL.
Team Heretics gonna be able to hold this angle here together with Dog Red, but Dinos is busy with SAUL. Dog Red harassing them from the high ground, and Team Heretics with 4 squads left. Dinos get eliminated. SAUL were able to take some
ya, bubble hilang.
And I really like this spot from Team Heretics. You see this
bubble hilang,
zone like this, holding onto this high
ground. Ada yang di bawah.
Are playing off that low ground alongside SAUL.
Dude, they are turtled up, just waiting for this end game. Staying
Gila.
out of sight from Team Heretics.
Sabar banget ya mainnya Vision.
success in B versus D as well as Wolves.
Wow.
And I thought they were one of the most consistent teams when it came to this matchup. They were able to obtain 2 wins in a recent scrim setting. However, low
Yah,
points. But did you see
di-F
the amount of
anjir
kills
sama
they're
tim
having?
Heretic. Kaget.
KP already alone. I'm not surprised when you have crazy
2v1
talent
kah?
that has made up S8UL.
Iya, Cok.
With Team Heretics getting eliminated,
Heretic.
our last 3 squads here.
Salah banget ya dia ke bawah ya.
For our last 3 squads, Dog Red.
Heretic ke bawah, Cok.
S8UL, but Dog Red have the high ground. That's the benefit for this team.
Ih,
as they
kenok
push
anjing.
forward up here on this bridge with these Watson fences harassing Visions.
The best part about this is, even though Carter did fall, we should be able to get a clean reset out of sight. But they do know they're there. You have to contend with who's going to go where in the portal. The
my
portal
God.
is down straight to the chow on a Dog Red.
This is so smart from SAUL though. Great communication. They TP in and they put down the Gibby bomb.
Ah!
We see the image.
What HP? What HP? Nice!
The follow-up knock onto Fafa.
Ah!
With 3 squads left, Legacy. He's playing out of his mind.
1v3 anjir.
A double-edged stone though coming in as Legacy. He's fragging.
Vision maju. Vision third.
Star in his hand.
Vision itu. What? GG S-Bull, Cok. GG S-Bull.
Can we talk about the dangers of having Legacy with the L-Star and how they even got to the high ground? Having the altar portal, get them up there. They put down the dome, they move up. He continuously harasses them and is able to split his attention to the amount of people that he had to focus on, whether it be that one player on top of the crate, whether it be having to move up from the Gibby Dome, but it was the space bot with the composition that they were rolling up with.
Let me just tell you, I am so impressed with that performance. 15 kills throughout the duration of that. And when you think about S8UL, I did have a chance to speak with them yesterday. I had a great chat with not only Legacy, but Sharky himself. And most notably, guys, you would remember Sharky is a former LAN champion. He is impeccable, but I feel like one of the things that he was highlighting most with the current team is his communication. He's like, we have been so good at communicating.
GG banget.
I think that is the
S-Bull ini,
strongest thing
Cok.
that you need to work on when it comes to adapting in our current meta, because everything is so flexible and you have to make sure navigating the bans, navigating the different maps, the fact that we threw World's Edge into the mix here for B versus D today, they are doing everything they need. So I'd love to step back and see what just happened with Team Vision, and we're going to where Team Heretics yeeted straight onto them.
Anjing tim Heretic, kalau tim Heretic kenapa milih nge-F Vision ya?
The experienced players that make up S8UL, and as we take a look at the highlights, even at the very
Miskom kah itu?
this is what was beautiful, right? You try to prevent the res from coming through, even if it was the Newcastle, right? But
S-Bull keren sih. 12, 15 anjing Kepi.
And you still have the L-Star to also
Elo.
contest the team who is trying to play around the edge of the dome and get a little dance going. The pop-offs in
Gelo,
the
gelo, gelo.
Jesco alone in that game dropped 7.
15.
The pop-up S8UL showcasing that consistency.
I was like listening to what their coach was saying, because the boys they got the celebration out, and we got 0 over there. What do we?
Let's go, boys.
You know what? He's probably giving some words of encouragement. He's probably like, you know what, guys, that was a really good game. I'm proud of you. Positivity, love, and happiness. We think. Do we think that's the case?
Hold on, we got some fans out here. I love it. I love the energy that we got here.
It's cute.
I love the bucket
Anjing
hat.
lucu, Cok,
It's
caster
really
anjir.
nice. It's great to have the energy here in the crowd as we tune in from Paris, but
Casternya
also
lucu banget,
highlighting the great
lucu.
sportsmanship that we've seen.
Casternya
Whether it be,
lucu,
you know,
nggak
what's
bohong
with the choke. That one is definitely going to be one of my favorite gifts that I gotta replicate here in
Do we
our.
make it a sticker in the group chat?
Lucu,
Yeah,
lucu,
absolutely. I
lucu.
was gonna say in the talent chat, absolutely. And we get to see what other stickers we add to our collection, because
MBG.
you like it. You like it when you see S8UL
MBG.
perform just like that. 15 total
Chat gue
KP
hilang mulu.
off that 4th game alone. And Tip, as you highlighted, getting ready into E-District, time is of the essence, right? Group stages, we're already on the 2nd day. You're kind of figuring out, you know, if you're falling behind, what you have to do a little differently,
Kenapa?
how the different legend bands have come into fruition,
Caprice
and
kenapa
whether
pas-
that's kind of worked against
pas
you, how you've been
ini sih
able to
anjing
make
gua
this
manyun.
adaptation as we've introduced World's Edge back into the map rotation for our first 3 games before we go right back over to E-District.
Yeah, Shopify Rebellion, we're kind of in that mid-pack when thinking about the survival stage, and that's great as long as you're not in that eliminated bubble. Teams like, know, basically TLN Pirates, Dog Red, Team Heretics. Those are 3 teams coming into the series that really need to be cognizant about that.
Kiri
But some more
sama
highlights
habo.
about is when you got Coast with a crazy angle, you had the Dinos up top, and S8UL definitely swoop on them. You get the bubble, you go straight in, take a Mastiff to their face. That is my favorite form of bubble fighting.
It's nice when you get a little dance in right here, as we get to see again some of the replays at the very end of that previous game, the L-Star, man. The holy meatballs makes your eyes water. I mean, tell me. It's the way that you're also able to put down these domes, split your attention, as Vision wanted to go in for the 3P. I mean, just imagine if they were one of the teams that didn't rock out with the Gibby. That's why Gibby is banned going into the next game. Most picked legend for game number 4, and that's no surprise here when Maggie was the 3rd legend ban after game number 3. We get to see great support here from our crowds coming out to show their energy here, Tiff.
I saw Cybercats logo on there. Yeah, we got some Cybercats former players up in here. You do?
I do, actually. I got a Chaps.
I had a mouse pad.
Hey. They hear us. When we take a look at our legend ban draft here, of course, Gibby, once again, is going to be the next legend out of E-District. We still got 2 more games to go here on this map.
Yeah, so this is actually very typical from the most recent series they ran prior to running match point final scrims. They went Crypto Seer, Mad Maggie, Gibby. Now, if we're going to anticipate
Maggie ke-ban anjir di World Edge bangsat.
Watson also usually doesn't get banned until after game 6, and you know we're only playing 6-game series. So we're going to have so much alter on E-District, which has been really opening up a lot of those aggressive plays that we witnessed in our prior game, getting out and just kind of navigating the field. But for our teams that are finding themselves at the bottom of the overall leaderboard, this is where I'm challenging you. And it's going to be Shopify Rebellion. I'm calling you out just a smidge. I'm gonna need you guys to step up because you're not on this page, all right? For now, Team Liquid at the top 52 points. Dinos, an impressive showing here for those young boys.
Exactly, right? Because if you take a look at J Future, we just spoke to him just a little bit before diving into game number 4. Is J Future is coming out with 14 total KP over the course of these last 4 games alone, and that's with Panic trailing right behind him, with Team Liquid holding first place overall over the course of these last few games with 13 KP.
Also true. Good shot of our trophies. This key crusher in the background. It's so scary, bro. If I come here, I don't want my key crushed. I've also been actively avoiding that area. I don't know why. I used to work in risk management, and let me just tell you, I feel like I need to avoid the key crusher.
I was gonna have to highlight it. It takes like days to build that.
Oh, they're gonna say days to crush the key.
No, that's instant.
Warnet VIP.
They do highlight how instantaneous your key disappears before your eyes, but it's also that double disrespect of the game-winning team for the day to really move up and crush all your dreams after they pick one of their opponents to do the job for them. But again, just to highlight, guys, match number 5 is on the horizon. It's crazy to see how a lot of these teams have been able to shape up going onto E-District. Don't go anywhere because we got a short break, and when we come back, we got game number 5.
Gue kira Max Verstappen. Suaranya hilang.
The proud founding partner of EWC, powering the biggest event in gaming, shoulder to shoulder with the world's best, making history.
Ultra 9
This deserves a
HX.
stage. Lenovo Legion, reach your impossible.
Welcome back, everybody. We got the crowd going wild. I'm right behind that banner, by the way.
Should we stand up? Should we try to peer over?
Even if I stand up, you won't see me. But you'll see Team Wolves and their support as they rally up the troops behind us here. We're getting geared and ready to go for game number 5 on E-District. Team Liquid right now has been putting on quite a masterclass. It's about that consistency, though, Tiff, when it comes to moving on from World's Edge into E-District.
It's kind of wild, because when I was thinking about it and looking at some recent runnings of this matchup, I've been kind of hyping on it. It was Team Liquid, Unlimit, Falcons, and S8UL were the 4 teams that I had kind of put into it, that I was like, this is the squads that are going to be the ones to look out for. They've got multiple wins, and actually, I don't believe Team Liquid had taken a win in that series, but good thing they showed up today. A
BMW,
map 1, a win
BMW, Hey.
was fantastic. Dino's putting their name into the mix, and then S8UL getting 1 win in map 4. With 2 to go on E-District, I'm looking for more out of Team Liquid. They looked great on World's Edge, and I think that they can replicate it. Sure, E-District yesterday, we talked about it, they had some issues running in with Alliance on that early stages, but they're not here in
Very
this lobby.
huge.
Move on up towards the Lotus, but the southern zone definitely hurt them a little bit.
And we see
Wait,
that
BA.
consistently too when it comes to E-District. And coming out of that POI over by Lotus, we got to see if Team Liquid is going to be able to replicate what they did on World's Edge for game number 3 with 13 KP. But with the crowd rallying up behind me, I want you guys to rally up with me because we got game number 5 to go here with the ALGS. It's been great to see groups B and D, and now we have to find out who will come out on top. Will it be Team Liquid holding their ground, or will another come trailing up and take it from them?
And that's exactly what it's all about here at EWC. Take what you want, right? Everything is earned, Vicky, and if you're not working for it, you're not getting it. And right now, with Team Liquid just 5 points ahead of Dinos, 2 maps to go. And honestly, that win from S8UL leapfrogged them up into 3rd. But gearing up here, we'll keep tabs. S8UL, I told you, they nabbed Neon Square, just like they played in E-District yesterday. So knowing that they'll have prio to those southern zones, we went towards that draft point area and map number 1, great for them. Very easy to get over there. For now, when you see that first initial circle pull, I'm looking at Dinos at Energy Bank. Now, Energy Bank are so fickle because there's a lot of places to play from, but it could pop a couple of different ways.
Yeah, right. Like usually by the bridge sides, right? And a lot of these teams usually get to coexist underneath these bridges, but I'm always scared when it comes to rotating early into a zone like this. You could expect that from like the likes of VP, who have already called in that evac tower. And since we say goodbye to Gibby, Baby Comp no longer saying instead, you're going to be making your way with some new compositions. Newcastle still kind of being that main face. I really love the inclusion, though. If it's not going to be like that Fuse, Axel, Wraith iteration, you see that Rampart too. So now taking a note of how E36 also make their rotate, some of these teams over by their designated POIs get to walk with not only an Evil Harvester, but with that Survey Beacon and Ring Console to add, which is why VP were so quick to rotate, as we also see from Team Falcons.
Yeah, love that they got this, right? Falcons over at Heights do get Survey Beacon and Ring Console, so know that they're running Watson. They immediately pop onto the Ring Console, see where they need to go, take to the skies, and land quickly. I'm talking, I think we are less just about 2 minutes of duration into this match, and we've already found ourselves fighting for a power position into Energy Bank. Wolves and Zipline Mafia with quick prio rotates are going to be down on the southern side, and this is maybe where Wolves can start turning things around, right? You have prio to the zone, you can take some fights and secure your spot, but if you did this good in E-District yesterday, we have 2 maps to turn it around.
Hi, Godo.
Rough, right?
It's good there.
Sitting in
Hi, Godo.
18th in the overall standings for Wolves. Now as they start rotating the double white Evo, one of those blue Evos with the NX here, VSN, who are by draft point, are going to be able to get the information off the Ring Console. Dory trailing right behind them, but there's also that Survey Beacon too. It's another reason why I really do like landing at draft point. You also usually have like a light arsenal before trying to rotate into that southern choke of Energy Bank. But remember what I mentioned when it comes to rotating early here. It's beneficial if you find yourself underneath one of those bridges. You're able to bunker down with the amount of Watson comps that we do see, playing into those defensive comps. But then you have to worry about the teams who are going to have to take a longer rotate, like WGR, Neo, who do have that Ring Console and Survey as they move out of Blossom Drive. But other teams are going to be like S8UL, who had one heck of a game number 4 with 15 KP, trailing behind Dinos, as they have 38 points to their name. TLNP, though, already getting involved in this fight versus E36.
Yeah, they hail from draft point, immediately dive up towards the north, but they have found themselves, you're right, surrounded by Enerforce 36. Falcons out towards their left, but Wolves, on the other hand, are gatekeeping Team Vision. We're side by side, and while this necessarily doesn't have to break out, these two are on the south side, but we're currently in that zone.
Oh my god.
You don't want to draw too much attention to yourselves because there are other teams still working their way up from the south side of E-District.
Going on next here too with Zek, who's been so on point when it comes to trying to call out a lot of these end zones too, but it was about getting the info with the Survey Beacon. They're getting pinged from afar by a longbow here. You can see the pings. Wolves were looking at them originally. They have their TP set up, but another team is also going to be Dory by the bridge side that we just saw in our last end zone. Waltzy, though, playing off the little lip of the fence line. I love taking fights here, but it's very risky.
Anjing,
You don't know if your
guild.
back is clear, so they would rather not risk this because
merah,
of the
anjir.
setup that they have underneath the bridge, the same bridge that I mentioned when we see a lot
Over
of these
armor
zone pools,
controller.
they have the Watson
Waduh.
fences painted all over the floor. They got the Newcastle barrier already set up, and they're splitting their attention
Sudah
with the
merah,
power that we're currently
anjing.
seeing over by Energy Bank.
And it's a really interesting decision, right? Because Falcons have Alter, so they can disengage through the walls just like that. But when you look at TLN Pirates, they've elected to play the Wraith. And they're also one of the 3 ramparts that are in the lobby. We can use those amped covers for a lot of deterrence to them. But also, our portal's not going to take us through the floor, though. That's on Alter. So you really have to keep an eye on the fact that Team Falcons are existing so close to you.
It's also important to highlight that we have a tie between the legend picks of Newcastle and Watson, so it really comes down to which of these teams find themselves in that first place spot, with Team Liquid holding on to the high ground. It's going to be Panic over onto that Watson, while Sykes holds on to the rooftop with the Newcastle Zero. So we're going to be able to put in some pings.
Ini energi bank mana ya?
Waiting for them on the other side of the building.
Lupa anjir zona-zona district.
As they do set up that TP2, but they're not alone. If Liquid commit to trying to take that fight while they're still waiting on info, because there's a ring console to their north, so they're expecting other teams to rotate from that choke specifically. I like to call it like the E-District building of the streamer building that you usually see on World's Edge. Everybody likes to drop here. The don't pull up zone, because Flat is also looking at this fight, but they're splitting their attention to the team pileup that's in the middle of Energy Bank, so they're just trying to show presence.
We definitely are. You can see we've got the jetpacks going and kind of queuing out of the way for Team Vision. We've claimed a building, S8UL, across the way. Let's go here. In terms of armor differential, it's not quite. Maybe just a purple over on Team Vision, so relatively equal there. And for now, they can kind of coexist until we see what is going to happen. Do we pull towards the east or the north side of Energy Bank, or do we get the circle for ourselves?
The reason why we see usually those defensive legends, while E36
Oh
now
iya, bisa rumah sini ya.
be able to get the finishing blow off of that player leading E36 as a duo. And with this nice overview
Kan
of the
benar
teams,
anjing yang arah draft point.
Mafia, while Dory are going to be able to take advantage of the ring console.
You know, it's crazy. I was like, oh, we'll see if it pulls north. We'll see if it goes east. Why am I doubting S8UL and Team Vision? They have been some of the best zone calling teams the entirety of LAN thus far and in Split 1. So knowing that they've elected to focus on that southeastern side, they get the zone pull. Typically where we saw E36 fighting is over in the center. The big red team Falcons. That's like 3 or 4 teams stacked on top of each other, with Team Liquid just above them.
Woi,
instead of going straight into Team Liquid, have carved their path out
liatin itu dia lagi perang.
And I'd imagine our next, I'd say 1 to 2 minutes, Vicky, we're going to lose a lot of teams.
That sense of what's happening with a lot of the teams that struggle to get in some of these early rotates, who are getting gate catched by these chokes on E-District, but with, you know, Alter in the mix and still Valkyrie, Skews is going to be able to put in the pressure with his 30-30. That's that gold sniper stock, by the way, as well as that purple heavy mag.
Oh, reload 2 ya.
Shots here, but even if it gets the knock, it's going to take a little bit before you traverse through this open ground. Ziplow drop down and try to take this fight too. There is that server beacon right behind him, and it is a rather isolated fight, because guess what? The one member of Neo is ahead of the rest of the team just to set down a TP, and they actually do manage to get out of trouble because they had a TP set up originally in another building, and Zipline Mafia wanted to try to take that fight.
Well, there we go. Survey beacon activating, giving us the information in which we need to know. Definitely need to run at that circle because time is of the essence. With 20 seconds ahead, you need to trail WGR Neo. We talked about Wolves needing a comeback story on our final 2 matches of E-District. They're just outside looking in with Genji and Aurora surrounding them. Couple of pokes as we recently lose out on Interforce 36. Looks like TLNP and Dinos with both a hand in that.
Jack the E36 gonna fully reset right there. Feeling the pressure here while Unlimit also pick up some KP. Look at Peace. Looking at Akba, as well as KSH, just seeing if they could try to get this Alter right back into the fight. But having to play on that low ground is hard when Unlimit has been peppering into you. Longbow in hand of Peace, gets the quick little 48, but he's already outside and around the corner. Just showing presence to clear this side of the choke. Very similar to what we had seen in the previous game with Falcons when we had gotten started on E-District. Dog Red, too, looking at Shopify. It's one member of Dog Red, though, who's looking at a full 3-stack. While Dory now also just trying to find their way around this next building. Somebody needs to help the Valkyrie right here. They put down the Gen. Great angle and great suppress fire, hitting 120 off the Hemlock.
I'm a little worried about this because Team Heretics is likely going to look for an opening onto this. They did bunker down, and having the Watson Newcastle will make things difficult. I heard the wall going up. You're likely going to have a pylon directly behind it. A res coming through via audio, and WGR Neo now on that west side with the ring at their back trailing. It's Zipline Mafia and WGR basically just running side by side.
With the zone closing in right behind their backs, you know who's going to be waiting for them, Tiff. You highlighted them just now with Team Heretics looking at Dory. Neo are forced to take a much longer rotate. This is going to be trouble for Zipline Mafia as they were trying to originally get that full reset here. And now coming out of Neon Square, Neo are going to go through the portal, going to be able to skedaddle through the southern side of Draft Point.
Zona kan?
Team Vision, who's been on the outskirts of that choke, have been there for a very long time. You mentioned that this is a team, Zach specifically, who's been so good when it comes to calling out, playing in those late zones and these circle pools, and they could expect a lot of these teams to find themselves in that pile-up over onto the southwestern side of zone.
Bow in hand, infinite ammo, and they are calling it out. We're like, can we locate? Okay. Just a little bit very far shot, but at least you're the Sparrow and you can invest that over. Bro, if you do it, I'm screaming.
So it's something about when you look at the Sparrow and he's like, Avicii. It's like, okay. You just hit me from a mile away like you're Legolas.
Oh my god, Dory.
This is what I was waiting for. We've been kind of talking about Team Heretics, Team Vision, Dory, Havoc, where they were all going to
Dory, tadi kamu kalah, Dory. Udah gua bilang. Udah gua bilang. Udah gua bilang.
But Team Heretics find the angle, and they immediately start pressuring through the mobile shield, down and around.
Tim Heretic, cok. BF anjir.
And SAUL rocking the rampart and hiding behind the amp barriers to get that triple take shot and grief them while they're
ngaco Dory ini, cok.
Inside the neighboring building, looking at all this action with Sharky takes a chunk out of them too. Lonzy then going to be able to follow up to find that member of Dory that's going to leave one up here as Dory just trying to stay alive. Team Heretics now trying to fight this against Havoc here, and SAUL and nobody contesting them are getting away with taking away KP.
Ayo, kasih tahu, kasih tahu. Nice KP Falcon.
The remaining player of the team jumps on a no shield back for you, Havoc out of the lobby.
Very quick here with Heretics.
Tim Heretic ya guys ya.
SAUL playing off those side buildings and isolating their backs. Nobody to come in for the 3P while Team Vision are playing very split up. And Zipline Mafia still, by the way, trailing against WGR Neo. The fact that they were able to also just rotate, now take to the skies and stay.
Rumah gak sih itu? Rumah, cok.
Doesn't have a shield, but they have the
rumah bawahnya anjir. Zona ya. Iya gak sih?
They find his position at least in this corner, doing everything, and this is where the Newcastle comes into play. And this hurts. You immediately drop the wall. You
dimasak ulti-fuse.
We have just expended so many of our abilities to secure this place. Now, knowing that there's 16 teams still in the lobby, we are safe and fully healed for the time being.
And they're gathering around the campfire and maybe singing the friendship song here. Everybody bunkers down. We've just built the house and we're not going to be moving out of here unless somebody evicts us.
Baca bingung, cok.
By the way, this time it's out of the bus.
Di FGNG langsung.
It's only Zicky though who is up and alive.
Let's
see if he can try to get this full reset because Team Vision are on the hunt.
Komsnya gimana itu, Cak? Gimana itu ya? No audio, Cok, no audio.
Stabilizing on the other side of that fence line after we saw them land, and they're also putting their attention onto SAUL, who are trying to arrest Team Heretics from moving up.
Aurora fall, flat fall at the hands of Team Liquid, and we jump immediately to their POV. One of two teams with the longest rotation, but at least you've got a Kraber in the hands of Zero to make it work. A good little pip there of what we're looking at. Shopify Rebellion on the run towards the east, and Team Liquid actually chasing them down.
Hal turu kah? Hal sama gila. Wah, Falcon gak gerak anjing edistrik kali ini, cok. Falcon gak gerak anjir edistrik kali ini. Gak gerak, cok, Falcon.
and they fall victim to dog red.
My
While
God,
Vision, they call
GNG
that being
NT.
on the southern side of zone. Zach is so good when it comes to calling out these E-district zone pools, and you can see that displayed here, but they need to make sure that the southern side of zone is cleared up, especially if you look at where the zone pool is. It's directly on top of Zipline and Team Heretics, with Visions playing more so by the edge, but teams that are flying by, looking to grief them. Shopify, Liquid trailing right behind. Zipline Mafia will be able to have a clear shot of the action happening in front of them.
Well, keep your eyes. 6 bullets in the Kraber for 0. Shopify Rebellion, 18th on the leaderboard. Team Liquid in first. So you've got to take down the Titans
Terbang.
versus D, and you're doing so. 0 down, Sykes down, Panic with a last stand and an RE45.
Gak panik, Cok.
Oh no.
Hello,
The drones are flying about. Panic is not trying to panic.
Wah,
here.
itu
He needs to
hancur lah.
cover.
I'm panicking.
Knockdown. Can he actually pull this off?
I'm
He has to hide
panicking.
behind the knockdown shield. I mean, it's so much pressure. They're playing neighbor essentially to Zipline Mafia, and now Panic is the last one alive. He does get the quick shield swap, while Dinos do get eliminating your feet. 10 squads left, and Panic is building up the defense to prevent them from climbing up.
Well, I mean, you have to think about it this way. They have a Sparrow and a Fuse on the hands of Shopify. So they're just inundating them with the Knuckle Cluster. So, of course, Team Liquid are going to be going through it. Shopify Rebellion live to see another day. Elsewhere, TLNB, the French, take down Dog Red.
Everybody look at the way that S8UL play this. They're safe inside a building. They got 41 total points, and they're primed in a position where they can clean up this KP once that next zone closes in. And they can also look at the teams like Unlimit, like Pirates, like VP, that have to move out of the middle side of Energy Bank in the open.
Itu kalau connect
It's gonna be free
dimajuin aja nih, gas.
We are in Paris, Vicky, and we were asking when TLN Pirates were going to start putting up some numbers.
Motherlord.
Still alive in the top 8.
Babum, babum.
But Unlimit are staring this team down, investing a lot of
Mau ngambil atas kan dia?
thermites galore, and they keep barricading through. We've got the Axel, we've got the Nitro Gates, but Yulari Man goes down on the opening fight.
2v2, 2v1, let's go!
Right afterwards, but you talk about the different legend comps as pieces, just trying to see if he could get a shield swap, but it looks like those shields in those death boxes were already swapped preemptively. Now moving up, though, trying to
Wah, 1v1 ente anjir.
Pirates, and he looks to get the res. Really, it's only VP who can try to contest him, but with the zone closing in, you have little time to even
Tumben gak nerfs Yulari, man.
Makes sense for them to take this fight, or do we just go to circle? Because they're going to have to deal with Shopify Rebellion looking for a place to play from as well. Team Vision on that south side still keeping tabs on it, and instead we lose out on the solo of Unlimit.
Impossible to be a reset there when the zone's closing in right behind you. Even better though, Shopify looking to clean that up. VP now brute forcing their way into the edge of zone, while Shopify trying to harass him because they also need to get right underneath Zipline Mafia. Hello, neighbor, as Zipline are looking at them through the other side.
Wah, yang mau ngakak gini tuh gua mau caster anjing.
While Zap with the motherload finds that knock onto weak Q.
You immediately see Kazakh just run at the down player. Weak Q up on his feet within 10 seconds. Great work from Kazakh there. We have to reset because Shopify Rebellion is about to do exactly what they did to Team Liquid if they're not careful. VP on the other hand, Fuse, Wraith, Catalyst, they already used the Dark Veil. So we're just
bakar, bakar. Dia kena anjir.
Pretty healed as he's going to be able to heal over time thanks to that AMP. 4 squads left as Visions get eliminated. Shopify next. Remember what I mentioned about S8UL though? This is the whole pile up as S8UL
Itu kosong gak sih anjir?
out with the portal to try to see if they could steal some of this KP. And that is with, by the way, the original TP that they had set up with that ultra look like, or maybe even taking that from
Rekan anjing, rumah yang itu masih ini.
Look, now that we're into the top 3, Zipline Mafia has fallen. S8UL recognize this is the time to get KP. We had 1 kill coming into this, and we don't want to rely on placement points, but Team Heretics are now in the bottom of S8UL's building with Virtus Pro across the circle.
My God.
Wait a minute, this got interesting with Team Heretics not letting go of S8UL. I mean, they really, they have no other choice though, because even if they get out of their building originally, S8UL will just be able to shoot at them for free. They have to take this fight, and with the zone now closing in behind their backs, a final zone, VP could capitalize capitalize off of this as a full 3-man with our last 3 squads up.
And here's the deal about S8UL, they've been in this building. They haven't got to replenish their nades, but hopefully they have a few.
Lata sih, ngambil top eh.
Mylo there as well, so we could take to the roof and fire upon Virtus Pro if that is the case. But you have to
Dardor.
from the fuse on
Madlord.
We yeeted it out onto S8UL, but with the zone closing in, taking their time. Slamming down is going to be Team Heretics, who move up first. This is a little you're stuck in the middle. You're in the line of sight of S8UL, who capitalize off the situation.
Oh, VP, Cok.
To 3P.
VP.
Gets the knock. They're
VP sudah.
But VP, as they see them
VP. Oh, S-Bull bisa reset, Cok.
Last 2 teams up, as it's going to be VP versus S8UL. VP move up, and S8UL were able to get these shield swaps. This is huge.
S-Bull.
They go crazy.
S-Bull back to back. 1v2. 1v2.
They have advantage until now. Princess is 1 shot, and now S8UL, can they do it? Can they get the back?
1v1 S-Bull. Oh my god, back to back. Anjir, back to back S-Bull. What the f...
The pop off.
That's alright, man. That's alright. You own the game, bro. What the heck?
They're like a point away from tying up with Team Liquid, who is first in the overall standings after
GG.
on World's
GG.
S8UL. The consistency on E-District. You take it game 4. You find yourself with the dub for game number 5, and you take it with 5 KP playing incredibly patient.
Anjir, kebuka Stellar Blade.
In that building. But I also have to highlight the way that VP played out of energy.
Kebuka Stellar
They were
Blade.
still trying to take a lot of these fights. They were trying to clean up a lot of KP. They fully capitalized off of Team Heretics, who were forced to move outside the building. Although a little early, they slammed down with the Newcastle wall, and they put themselves directly in front of VP, who gets to convert a 2nd place finish with 10 KP to their name that game 5.
That was absolutely insane to grab the double digits. You are 100% correct. The most damage taken, if I'm not mistaken, in that top. But they also dealt 6,900 damage in that entire game there, Vicky. Their damage differential is like 2,900. VP went crazy in terms of kills.
Overall.
So you like to see too when we have one more game left onto E-District, but we got to take a look at these highlights first and what led up to these final moments for game number 5, because you know how I feel, Tiff. When it comes to these game 5s, it really determines how these teams are feeling. You're already at the later half here of this group stage, specifically within this series. And what you have to do differently, S8UL are stacked up. Jesco, oh my gosh, with these hipfire shots off the 30-30. You talk about playing patiently inside that building. You mentioned maybe not having a lot to work with when it comes to these meds or the nades. He had like, what, less than 120 bullets in that of light mag in that R9 in general. And he was able to work off of this with the 30-30, following up to try to take these fights safely. But it's beautiful to see S8UL coming out on top here on E-District, and also very similarly to Team Vision, by the way, playing off of where they predicted that zone pool was going to be over to the southwestern side of Energy.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, right, for Team Vision. Yes, they get into the top 5. They got a bit more kills than they did in the prior match, and they did get 2nd, but we're still showing that consistency, which is what we're genuinely asking for our teams in the group stages moving into later in the week. Dinos, though, after some stellar performances, go out with about 3 points in that game. So knowing that they've been in the top 3 for the series results thus far, with 1 game to go, I'm looking across who are we cheering for. We've got all of our fans in the stands. Honestly, Vicky, this stuff started filling up early today.
I love it. This is the energy that I live for when it comes to our lands. There's no other. Like an ALGS land, as we get to see the Reject fans in the crowd. RC win. I love the energy that we're seeing here. From behind us in the caster booth to the audience here in Paris, the back-to-back though. VP getting so much KP in their pockets, and it's scary too with S8UL still harassing them, by the way, and that's when they sent that one member to kind of pepper into them while the zone was still cleaning up behind them. They still were able to get the full set, which is even better in terms of pacing for VP, And that kind of goes hand in hand to the help of Team Heritage,
Team Liquid,
who moved
anjir.
up from underneath the building that they were sharing with S8UL, taking their attention away from them, and the fact that they still had 2 up when they were facing
RRQ 6-2 kemarin.
it's just built different.
Gelo ya.
The fact that if he hits that last clip onto Preston's, that would have been
Wah,
disgusting.
gelo
I mean, he
anjir.
was tracking with the R9, the hip fire, the cleanup there. He finally gets the job done, but that was a nasty sequence.
Great awareness in avoiding those catalyst spikes too on the ground.
Gelo,
taking
gelo,
control
gelo,
of the
gelo,
hedge
gelo,
before
gelo.
sliding off and still working off of having, you know, whether it
Gelo,
be those
RRQ,
white
cok.
attachments or blue attachments on that 30-30 on the R92 as S8UL are rallying off from the back-to-back. Love to see the family in the crowd too, but again goes back to what we were talking about, Tiff, and the way that they were able to convert a lot of these final zone pools into getting the dub. Sure, it wasn't the, you know, 15 KP that we saw in game number 4, but it's highlighting the fact that they were able to close the gap between themselves and where Team Liquid is currently situated in with a 1-point difference between themselves and first place spot.
That
Ini
means
si
game number 6 is
nyayur
gonna be
banget.
so insane. You're going to have a different storylines running. Will Team Liquid be able to make it towards the end and take the top of B versus B? Or could Dinos throw down another win? We talked about it. You got Kashera there in the back, just a real veteran in the ALGS comp scene is coaching Dinos. So to be able to provide all of that knowledge onto these boys for their first major land, that is exactly what they need here today. But S8UL, I mean, they're looking clean.
Yeah, they do here. S8UL with that dub. I do believe it's going to be the Watson who is out for our final game. Don't think I saw Zero looking at the boys over the Aussies after that win.
He gave him enough positivity.
He gave him all the energy. I mean,
that.
He's like, it's your turn now.
109.
Like, fine, I'll go get the job done. As we look at our overall
Ini game
rankings
5 kan?
and stages
Iya
there.
gak sih?
58 kills, a total of 109 for Team Liquid. S8UL right behind them, but it's getting close. These group stages, I'm starting to get a little nervous because when you think about it, top 14, you are safe. That's where you want to find yourself. Anytime you're outside of that, so long as you're above, you're not in the bottom 6, we are golden, right?
It's great here when you're really on the second day and you've kind of figured out where you situate yourself across a lot of these different groups.
I know it's an Argentina jersey, and this is going to sound really bad, guys. It's because Rain Day was in the green room. We saw the baby on the broadcast earlier. He's like, yes, the baby is in the Argentina jersey. That is 100% what we need. And now I miss my child at home.
Oh, I just love the fact that you get to rally of the
Curhat,
family.
Caster
give
curhat.
Players at all
Caster
of our international
curhat tuh.
lands. It's great. As we get to see a lot of our players geared and ready to go. What will be the results post-match number 6? Don't go anywhere, because we will be moving back over to E District on the other side of this break.
Win ya, dual sense. Win ya, dual sense. Anjir.
Back, everybody. Team Liquid are primed, sitting in first place with 56 total
Kata gue tadi lagi
points. We got
bacot,
one
Caster.
more game to go on E District. It's been exciting to see whether, you know, Zero has been digging for gold to get that #1 first place spot in this group stage, or will S8UL, the boys back at home, just steal it away from him after the back-to-back dub?
I mean, maybe they go again, pull the hat trick out, just win all 3 on E District and just cement your dominance and say, you know what, E District, yeah, of course, we were able to get the same POI draft that we grabbed before, so we're playing from Neon Square, we're feeling really confident about it, and they had that southern zone that went into draft point, and immediately after the Energy Bank one, they called it to perfection. So now, can they do it again?
We'll find
Tim
out
Indo yang mana?
next
Nanti
on
dia
our last
game
game
abis
on
ini.
E District. Here for groups B
Game abis
and
ini
D.
RRQ doang.
As Team Liquid want to hold up this first place spot. Can they do it with 56 points with S8UL trailing a 1-point diff, or will we get another southern zone?
Tim Indo yang masuk sini RRQ. Oke, kita harus INDOPRIDE, guys.
of Team Liquid. Let's get this game going. It's been a great day of the ALGS, and of course, it's crazy to even think, Tip, that we got even more action later throughout the day, but it's the way that this Groups B and D play out.
The way things have been playing out since we started this day, Vicky, the question was, Team Liquid, Falcons. Match number 1 on World's Edge. What does that final 1v1 look like? Right? Zeros in the end. It's Waltzy, right? And in the inevitable, Falcons take that map. Team Liquid answer back with a win in map 3, and APAC South showed out for 4 and 5. Here's the deal, guys. Falcons are currently situated in 7th
match
place
terakhir nih.
If we're gonna
Abis itu
continue
RRT
to
main.
I'm gonna need to see the Falcons throw down a dub in Game 6.
Can they do it? I mean, the way that they opened up today, can it be a Falcon sandwich? You gotta hit them with a but you gotta soar to victory first to even be within that conversation. They predicted
City Hall nih. Zona City Hall Kadex. Zona City Hall Kadex.
Pulled closer to where Visions had predicted coming out of their POY and settling on the north
Bisa
side.
jadi sih ke atas
This
ya.
time though, we are taking a little
Oh,
bit
enggak.
to the west side of the middle part of E District on the outskirts of Energy Bank and closer
Itu
to
bisa
the
ke Energy Bank. Energy Bank
Someone hit the scriptwriters
kiri.
because SAUL are going to try to convert off of this because they also got the ring console and the survey beacon while they're at it off of Neon Square.
I mean, they just have the rampart. They've chosen to run that with the Watson band. They grabbed, you're right, the ring console and immediately go to set up alongside. So they have the amped covers. They've got the Newcastle wall. After the changes with Watson being yeeted out, I'm looking at Team Liquid's pick as they kind of work their way up into the Lotus. They elected to play Sparrow, which is something we're very familiar with. Sykes playing Sparrow in that last game on this matchup for E-District. And even the Bangalore making a few appearances. I see Genji electing to play Bangalore. Team Liquid, my next question was, would Unlimit bring out the Bangalore for peace? No, they're still on the Axel Sparrow Fuse. Fuse has been very prevalent throughout our series.
You know, another team too who has been within the top 3 like since the very beginning with the way that they've been doing throughout the course of these 6 games is Dinos, and they could easily also overtake SAUL
Rebutan
and
rumah
Liquid,
streamer kah?
how they do in this game and the way that they rotate out of Energy Bank. But back to back with so many other teams now trying to rotate out of Draft Point. KSH though also being another team looking at VP over on the north side of Energy Bank, and while we do see these pings, so many other teams like E36 are on the rotate. Pirates, who are very close to meeting up with Dog Red over by that choke. You can already see E36 now moving up 2 Evos as well as just with the blue. They do see Dogs on the other end though, and they have the Evo shield advantage.
Yo, what I'm curious about is Wolves are full sending straight to the position that SAUL has found themselves in. Are they going to absolutely duke it out for that positioning? We'll have to wait and see. Zipline Mafia currently on our screen, very south here as they're working their way on that bottom side of Draft Point. Team Vision will be late to this rotation just based on where we're pulling. And finally, the challenge. And Jesco's got the Sheila out this early on for the action. I'll take it.
Oh, my sleep paralysis demon.
Oh, ini
I
ke
missed
bawah,
you so. Jesco now forced to
Bawa
back away after
bawa
letting the
Energy
Sheila
Bank kah?
give a few of those warning shots. SAUL though having to stay alive when they're trying to take this fight versus Wolves on the other side of the building. They do have that slight high ground advantage. They try to go.
Enggak di draft point anjir.
Kidnap at the hands of Legacies.
Di antaranya,
This is the beauty of having that rampart with those amp barriers. And E36 though, they heard the fight and they want in on the party with an invite that probably got lost in the mail.
Hey, they got some blue shields though, so that's going to give them a bit of an advantage. This throws another catalyst into the fight, and No Name, I love to see the angles onto that. An immediate 48 damage going down onto Legacy. We don't get the shield break just yet, but that's okay for now. Having
That's
the fact that
okay
Wolves
for
have a
now.
catalyst, E36 have a
He
catalyst.
say-
There'll be
he
piercing
say-
spikes, reinforced doors, and SAUL have the rampart with the amped covers. They're going to get that damage boost if they can find a way to navigate the angles properly.
It's nice to highlight just the different defensive legends that our teams are opting out for, right? And then you still have like the Caustic in this conversation, a lot of Sparrow, a lot of Alter. If this was going the distance, Alter would have been the next legend band, but it ends here within our 6-game series. All the Alters are prowling about. It's the E36 who's running alongside Shopify. Very unorthodox composition, but you mentioned Shopify having to really wake up. I mean, this is their last chance at this point. You've only been able to get, what, like 14 total points, finding yourself on the bottom end of the overall standings, while VP over by Lotus are going to be able to take to the high ground, get that information before moving up. Because Shopify are also right next to them, as VP do get to get the ring console.
It's kind of interesting. Good note on that, and we'll chat about Shopify later. But even with a good game, you go to what,
Abis
39
ini
points
tuh
that gets you just
survival
inside
apa
the top 5,
langsung
barring
ini?
any craziness in our mid pack. For TLNP, they're kind of in a similar position, but they're rotating just on the outskirts of Havoc, trying to find their way. Do we pathway through City Hall? City Hall really doesn't have a lot of information gathering resources for that catalyst to grab a ring console. So our goal is we go up to Lotus, grab ring console there, and be super late on the rotation. That's why we're checking the survey beacon first.
Jordan, we see a lot of these fights, though. It's going to get volatile here. So Aurora Effect has the gold mag on the car, but he barely even gets to shoot it. They completely melt him down. Harkus is trying to bring back Ring after Effect falls incredibly low, but he doesn't look like he can pull it off. He gets the animation at the very
60 detik di Afrika sama dengan 1 menit di semuanya nggak sih anjing.
Finishing blow before the reset happens, but Harkus way too fast. He gets both of the boys.
Global, Jo.
And Aurora are looking to reset.
60 detik nggak cuma di Afrika.
Medkit's going off, about to be finished. The re-knock on Oiring comes through. Hiarka with the damage control grabs Qzer from now for Nano and Big Louie here.
Dia mainnya nggak fokus anjing.
What we can do.
Nggak lock in duduknya, salah posisi duduk makanya kenok anjing.
Nano's taking this slow though. He's a little scared, trying to see if he can get a little cheeky kidnap before trying to go in through the TP himself. But they're playing ring around the rosy. I've seen this one before. A little bit of deja vu with the more consistent shots off the alternator. Nano knows that he has fried him, but playing off of the knockdown shield is gonna be
oh my god, GG.
They clean up Aurora as the first team to go out in this final game.
Tough series for Aurora. They had 18 points, 15th in the series standing thus far for this group. We're gonna have to see them answer back and hopefully get into the top 14 for the week. Falcons though,
baru ini game terakhir B sama D. Game terakhir B sama D, abis ini baru RRQ main.
Save the Falcons if they want to break into the top 5 or potentially challenge for the top of the leaderboard.
Habis ini RRQ main, baru kita all in guys, all in buat RRQ.
And after losing out on Guild and Waltzing getting knocked,
RRQ main kita all in.
Waltzy if he is safe here, because the action is happening in very similar ways with Zipline. Also just trying to get the finishing player here. As you all get eliminated in your feed. That is actually crazy because SAUL were not able to get the 1 KP to tie up with Team Liquid. But
dia top 4 ya, top 4 langsung ini ya.
Havoc does fall as well at the
top 4
hands
top
of
5 sih.
Unlimit. We knew Wolves was challenging SAUL for their position with Enerforce 36 in a
neighboring
vicinity.
langsung rame.
Enerforce 36 tried a third party, it doesn't come through. Elsewhere, Zipline Mafia looking for information and trying to course their path on that eastern side of Energy Bank.
I just have to highlight too, like why these teams are playing the way that they do in the group stages. There is something at risk, right, Tiff? When the bottom 6 teams of group stages
kata bit share anjir ke grup keluarga lu, grup sekolah, kok enggak grup mana, grup kampus. Biar biar ini, Cok. Biar rame. My god, Yulari Man udah nggak nervous, Cok. GG's.
But he's unstoppable. He's just trying to reset. Nay's trying to stay alive, and now he's forced to TP to reset.
Yulari Man sudah tidak nervous dia, guys. Dimasukin. GG's. Yulari Man ngebantai anjir.
Are putting on a performance in this final game. They keep going though, as Yulari Man has seen another victim in the distance here. They're like actually losing out. One player here, Suvi,
Loh,
is going to be
keterstasi Suvi.
Now Team Heretics move up. They control the high ground as well as this choke. With Zipline Mafia on the other side, but it's going to be difficult with Galleria now.
Share ke grup mancing, share ke grup jual beli. Gas, gak apa-apa, Cok. Gas. Siapa tahu kan ada orang kalau lagi nggak mancing main Apex jadi tahu gitu. Iya nggak?
Well, we're still kind of shadowing Zipline Mafia, but a bit towards the north. I wonder if we're going to be able to get ahead of them in the choke.
Wow.
This is OBS 17.
Wow. We are moving through the matrix. Hearing the voices in my head. You think I'm Wraith actually at the same time. Team Heretics.
You just went into the void.
Suara siapa anjir?
You love it, the little banter when you hear like Alter talk to Wraith too with her cute little portal. Felt like I was Wraith for a second.
Pakai TTS anjir.
Here, but you know who's hearing themselves take this dub is gonna be Dino with the way that they've been
Text
playing.
to speech.
Currently with still 50 points, Team Liquid still are alive. But it's gonna be able to be Dinos trying to prio this rotate right now, trying to survive, get that placement, especially when they see Team Vision blocking their rotate. They're forced to take this roundabout rotate through the southern side of Energy Bank through the choke instead.
And Gen G get a full reset. Reds 2, so back up to a team of 3. And a good move for Dinos. We've got WGR Neo ahead of them. And I love the caution we're taking, right? We just all turtle up, no angles given, quiet, syringing together, and focusing. Now, this is the battle that's been going on since the very start of this map, and it's Enterforce 36 now with portals, with Dark Veils, trying to eliminate Wolves. The piercing spikes were down the stairs, but away we go, back to our building. The reason this is happening is because, guys, Shopify Rebellion has showed up to the fight.
Kalau grup keluarga sekalian ortu dulu dukung karir lu buat ngikut turnamen warnet. Ngedukung, cow, udah pasti. Gue sebelum ke Apex kan pernah nyoba pro scene buat masuk pro scene PUBG, tapi PUBG Mobile sih.
Are able to try to get this reset with the medkit getting popped for no name, while Zipline Mafia are farming in the kill feed. Kazakh is going to be able to get the one member of Team Heretics.
My God.
Are going to be able to put down the TP2.
Shopify ada terus cok dinin.
Enterforce 36 is down, and now you turn towards the Falcons with Woltsy last.
Dori nih. Wah, Woltsy sendiri. Yah.
And the Falcons fall to flat.
Huge here for Flat to get this reset.
GG's Falcon 2.
In this final game.
Falcon GG anjir.
Now with Waltzy at least, you know, he got that knock, but unfortunately he couldn't get that KP.
Falcon.
And clean up on aisle 3.
Marah-marah. CEO marah-marah, cok. CEO marah-marah.
Team Liquid, who are still alive, are looking at the pile-up on the north side of Energy Bank. Gen G, Zipline Mafia, you were talking about this earlier. We saw the kill feed lighting up, Tiff, and Unlimit may actually 3P this, but you know what's even better? Is Dinos by Energy Bank, who are looking to steal this KP.
I mean, look, when the dinosaurs go on the prowl, it's a little scary. I don't remember their favorite dinosaurs. We'll have to ask them after. Gen G, yes, you got the full reset.
You Larry man with the crabber.
Zipline Mafia and Team Liquid now to end this fight. Ahead is excused and Zero.
Masa Zero kalah anjir? Nggak mungkin nggak sih? Lo mau reset?
J Future was able to capitalize, but Team Liquid says, I'm out, immediately taking the portal. Don't want to be in this action. Let's see if they can recall the player. They actually end up doing it. Team Liquid are looking to get the full reset. That's going to be huge here. No one's really going to contest them other than really Dog Red. But they're one of the teams with the Sparrow. Shopify are taking to the skies and actually may distract Dog Red from trying to harass Team Liquid. So it looks like it could be a full reset here, while Wolves are still on the other side of this choke with where Team Vision has been holding them back together with Flat.
Dikagetin sama Shopify Rebellion.
Still having this lobby. You could take that TP through those walls to get cheeky with these rotates.
Now it's all about who is going to do what.
Motherload.
No, we'll go with the Knucker cluster.
Nggak jadi.
Doing some damage. We'll table it. But Shopify
Dia balik.
needs to pull forward. Dog Red has already gone to circle. Wolves electing to go towards
Bener anjing kirinya Energy Bank.
Shopify Rebellion who
Ayo Motherload. Jeber, bakar. Gua yang ini anjing gemes banget ngeliat darahnya.
Because the zone is closing in. We got to see if they're going to be able to reset. I don't think so. And now Wolves actually take the TP through the wall. They actually do. But Dog Red were waiting for them. They wipe them out. And Wolves get eliminated in a Team Liquid. We mentioned the
Yulariman yang kenok. Prager yang kenok, cok.
They follow up. They find more of these victims, and Dinos are stuck on the edge of zone before they eventually fall.
Digas pasti, digas udah.
Zero remembering
Udah.
the choke. You
Ente
can't
unlimit.
me if you are not on top. And Team Liquid right now are looking to farm as Panic gets another one.
We grab a knock onto Shopify Rebellion Zap. We lose Unlimit, and this is great. We're carving out our
Kelihatan
path.
ya?
Now here's the
Gua mah kagak
team
kelihatan,
forward
Cok.
in the circle. They could send one player out to third party this, but Panic deals so much damage. Steals a shield and disengages. That is the playstyle we need for Team Liquid. They're playing for
Pantes
the win,
Apex
the
lagi.
positioning.
Iya.
No, this isn't a safe fight.
Pantes.
Looking at the fact that you
17
got like a
plus.
G7 with Team Liquid, I think a Kraber as well. I'm surprised if Zero has that picked up your Shopify. With Zap literally one shot is just looking to restabilize. Another team across from them though, with Team Vision holding the other side of VP. Team Liquid are taking a roundabout rotate from the back end of where the one member of Zipline Mafia is. And by the way, the last member alive is going to be the Pappy. Living true to the squad name, if he can move up into this next zone. And while he hears Team Liquid, he actually baits him to fight up against Team Vision flat. The one solo gets eliminated at the hands of Zach. And Team Liquid move outside
Team
the
Liquid.
zone. They see the TP.
Panic.
He didn't mean to try to get the finisher
Panic.
outside into the ring, but he did want to try to finish him off. Get the reset too. Zero does have the Kraber in hand and the unlimited ammo.
But are they going to chase
Anjing, dia
them
dapet
down
Kraber,
where they
Cok.
reset onto the west because Virtus Pro has been pounced on by Shopify.
Anjing di
Zap
rumah.
still healing. Shield cell by shield cell. But the knuckle
Rumahnya
clutch
lah,
assist boy.
rumahnya masih zona. Oh, zona terakhir ke gedung anjir.
Kills. This is the game that they needed to
Iya nggak
turn
sih?
this around. We're combing. We're trying to break into the top
Ke gedung
10,
situ
but
nggak sih, Cok?
even with a win, we would be into the 30s. But it's still a salvageable series.
Oh, enggak ke tengah jalan ya?
Right now, zone's closing in. Right behind Team Liquid. They haven't called out, by the way, the solo that is left of Zipline Mafia.
Pro player termudanya aja mentok.
Let him live.
He is hiding.
Oh iya,
He's dear
17 ya.
alive. Look at him. Look at Kazak. Just hiding behind the desk.
Rasanya kemarin 18.
Would you like me to take your
Si
order real
siapa?
quick, 'cause he's right there next to
Siapa ya
the
kemarin ya?
desk itself. The fact that Sykes is playing for a long
Ike
time,
kah?
He has no idea. He has no idea.
Check your corners. Check your corners.
They keep getting all right.
Okay,
all
he's
right.
gone. Koipo
Hey, but they in this round for Team Liquid to get that free KP. Honestly,
Audio.
I was gonna say right into their face.
Ente
of
Team
another
Liquid.
team. It's gonna be Shopify. Here, waiting for them as well as
Wah,
VP.
Vision.
Now,
Vision champion gak sih, Cok?
Team Vision. Now, this is all for
Vision sudah.
for free. I mean, Shopify
Vision.
was looking at Team Vision. They were able to
100%.
finish
Enggak,
up
lawannya
their
Shopify
own
anjing.
You try to get the double
Lawannya
Sparrow,
Shopify,
good luck with
enggak.
that. And now they're looking to coexist off the low ground.
And we're into the final two.
Lawannya
And look at
Shopify,
Zainu,
Cok.
immediately trying to get, if we can, with the Hemlock Breach through the mobile shield loader.
Lawannya Shopify 3v2, 2v3, 1v3. 1v3 sudah. Tuh, kaget. Kaget gua. Gua kira bakal
We said Tiff. We highlighted Shopify.
Bakal
right
si
before getting
Vision,
into this
anjir.
last game. How good they needed to perform for match number 6. They were in what? 8?
lah Jason the Win.
Yeah, it wasn't,
Overall before that game?
it wasn't looking too good, and they were kind of in that middle pack coming into this series where they would have really secured themselves a spot. in
Jason the Win, anjir.
That survival stage, they wouldn't have been quite sent home, and of course we do still have some more series to play.
GG
But
sudah.
getting that win and getting as
Shopify.
many points as they can will
Apa tadi?
edge them
Kata Amit?
closer in that group standings.
Kecuali
so
kalau
they
ada
can
rookie.
really avoid being in that bottom 6.
Anything when it comes to being able to secure the 9KP too. Let's also not forget they took the solo.
Kecuali kalau ada
from
rookie baru.
Zipline Mafia. All
Jarang.
that KP
Ada
as we
rookie
take a
kalau
look at our other teams
ada
who
rookie baru
may
kalau
not have had the performance that they needed. Dory
ML sama
finding
Palu mah
themselves in that 20th
banyak nggak
place
sih,
spot.
Cok,
Wolves too
yang main?
kind of take this very slowly. Even the teams like WGR Neo, who came in swinging yesterday.
They had a 15
Mekaniknya,
Wolves had a strong
mekanik,
showing yesterday. B versus
semua.
D, not their
Nah,
matchup that they're doing too
basic
hot on
gak
today,
sih,
but that's
anjir?
okay. There's still plenty
ML
of more
ML
matchups
sama
to go.
Palu
But
tuh basic
Shopify
gak sih?
Rebellion, you can see the celebrations on that map 6
Maksudnya
win
mekaniknya ya?
doing the most. I even saw Zero running over there to talk to them. What do we think Zero is saying to all these teams as they get their wins? He's congratulating them. We know Zero is a positive guy.
Positive. I mean, dude, when it comes to the Aussies, oi, oi, oi. You'd love to see it. I love to see the energy.
Jadi
here when it
banyak
comes to
orang kayak baru
I
main,
was able to perform,
masih
Team
muda
Liquid
gitu ya.
too, and
Udah jago,
You know what? Sometimes I like
Wajar.
to call it back in my roots, Tiff. Taught to get bodied because even if Falcons started off strong,
they did.
You see Waltzy with the pop-off, but that was only game number 1 before
Wajar,
Team Liquid
wajar.
was really able to turn things around. Sure,
Apex jarang ada rookie
they got
karena
that one dub
Apex
was double
Apex butuh
digit,
jam
13
terbang
KD.
sih.
They
Butuh jam
consistently
terbang,
found
Cok.
themselves in these end zones when it came
Butuh
to
jam
winning out of
terbang.
district.
Itu menurut gua ya, menurut gua tuh Apex butuh jam terbang sih. Nggak cuma Apex sebenarnya, semua game juga butuh jam terbang kalau mau jago juga. Tapi jam terbang Apex kayaknya lebih lama, maksudnya lebih banyak,
Especially when you also see that one solo
lebih
was
oke.
getting cleaned up. Shopify waiting patiently, Zap going crazy at the very end.
Apex ya,
After
Apex,
securing the
Apex,
KP from the high
Apex ya.
ground before repositioning himself, playing off the fuse, and even getting out of line of sight of that Sparrow ultimate.
You know, what's really nice is how he manages like the cooldown and the count of his knuckle clusters. He grabs the knock and throws the knuckle cluster
Buat
onto them
soalnya
before
Apex
diving
buat
out of the
nyampe
door
ke
as
atas
we
tuh
re-see
susah
those
anjir, kayak ke top
celebrations down
ranknya.
the back there. That has to
Top
feel good because
1%
sometimes
gitu.
this is what
Susah
happens
nih.
on LAN. You have a slower start. You're trying to figure out the pace of how these group matchups are working. And finally to say, hey, we got that win, because that's the biggest question that we take into Match Point Finals on the weekend is we are saying, have you netted yourself your first win of the series yet?
It's great. It's fantastic to see how even the teams on the back end of things were able to wake
Roh
up a
gua
little bit.
kemana ya?
Even just that 1 point diff between Shopify off of that great banger of a last game behind Team Falcons, with them holding 36 points and Shopify with 35 at the end of that. Even with the way that Visions was able to perform and call a lot of these end zone, it's been great to see how these teams, these groups have faced off against each other. Let's hear from more of Zero as we jump into the interview.
Zero.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main stage. We've got
Dan
an
Guild.
epic interview here.
Kenapa
because,
dua,
let's
anjir?
face it, day 2 did not disappoint. I've got Guild here joining me from Team Falcons. Guild, let's kick things off. Today, speaking of kicking things off, that map 1, we've got to talk about it, right the way down to the wire. We gave the fan service to the fans. They had a great time. Waltzy clutching up at the very end of that. Talk me through the comms, talk me through how game 1 went for you guys, and how elated you were afterwards.
I mean, game 1 was great. I was really happy for Waltzy to win that 1v1. He played it really well. I mean, that game was just pretty well played for the whole thing, pretty much.
Yeah, it was an incredible thing to see, and to be honest with you, it's a similar story to yesterday. You guys starting strong, and then it's starting to taper off. What kind of issues are you running into, or is it just kind of, that's how it plays out sometimes?
I don't know. I mean, game
Ini
2
rambutnya apa ya?
kind of died in a way that like we couldn't really do much about it, and I think we just didn't do a great job recovering afterwards. So the rest of the games just didn't go well.
So the rest of the games, was it just getting in your own head, and then suddenly it kind of started to, not necessarily spiral, I was going to say spiral, but it started to slip away from you guys throughout the rest of the day?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a game like that, like every
ini udah kelar ya game
matters
ini
a
ya?
lot more, if that makes any sense. So if you do start having bad games because you're actually making mistakes and not because of things out of your control, it's really
Game pertama ya?
Piling a bit more pressure onto your own shoulders.
Camsut
I really
dulu
appreciate
gak
it.
sih,
Thanks so much
guys?
for joining me in this interview, and we're going to head right over.
Camsut dulu gak
With
sih?
my man Rain Day.
It's a far walk. I hope you guys can make it over here. But Zero, I just got to say, in form. That's kind of the way that I feel. This
good right now on the team.
No, it's terrible. I hate both of them. I'm gonna break down D-Day's.
Sumpah,
I'm gonna
sumpah.
break down D-Day's door tonight. We live in the same room, so he's gonna get beaten. Anyways, yeah, it's good though. I forgot the question already.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you and your friends are trolling each other in the middle of the interview. Are you nervous for any specific part of the competition? Do you think any one day will be more difficult? Are you pretty set and feeling like you guys are definitely making your way all the way through?
I think the match point finals will be difficult. We've never, obviously, this is our first LAN. The first day we got LAN experience, and that's why we did better today, and we'll probably do better tomorrow, hopefully. But then the match point finals is a different game. You know, like the quality was not that good today. People are starting to get desperate. But the match point finals, like everyone's gonna be playing like very, very conservative, and there's gonna be so many teams alive. Any tiny mistake, any like inch you give to another team, you're just gonna lose. So you can't make any mistakes at all.
That's what.
Iklan anjir.
Close this out, okay? Chaos, tell me a little bit about what it's been like playing with this team. You guys are clearly, I mean, having fun right now at least.
I mean, I feel like it's been fun for me. I feel like out of all the teams, we're like the most like positive and just making jokes. I mean, I don't know how to say this, but we have the beacon of positivity right here. And as you can tell, I mean, I think we are the youngest team in Apex Pro League. So, you know, we got all the unks over there, and we just gotta like outprove them. Oh, and we have -72 as our sub.
Absolutely legendary.
Yeah.
Just in case,
No, he's not even our sub.
you know.
He's just here.
But I mean, it's been fun. We like to get the vibes up, and to us, if we don't have fun on Apex, what's the point of playing?
I could not agree anymore. I mean, not only are you guys crushing it now, especially here in day 2, but you kept the vibes up in the interview. This was an absolute blast, and we got to talk with Chaos for the first time. So I'm going to chalk this one up as a success. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with us. I'm excited to see what you do in the rest of the competition.
Thank you.
He can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler 1, you're done.
Siapa anjir? Ini kamera bagus banget lagi.
Well, there you have it. The groups are done. We got a chance to talk to SAUL Esports. Saw some some drawings there in regards to a circle. Look more like an oval there towards the end. But overall, a great series too, especially for Team Liquid. My goodness, were they able to pop off. By the way, for everybody currently watching at home, don't forget that you can go to the EWC website and also the app to make your predictions. And while you're at it, if you want to participate, if you want to let us know what you want to see the players do next, or maybe the amazing talent that we have here, whether it's making them draw, whether it's making them do the $100 squad again, let us know by using the hashtag EWC and hashtag EWC26. But going back to it, I mean, Team Liquid, Snipe, damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Damn.
quite the storyline after, you know, such a mediocre way to get to here. You know, they struggled kind of at the beginning of Pro League, and, you know, Zero had some unfortunate luck not even making the last LAN.
Anjir, masih
It's just
sejam
one of
main
those where
Apex
it's
kali
like,
gue ya.
okay, what's about to happen after the whole Hal and Zero separation? For Liquid to come out back-to-back days,
Main Apex nih gue nih.
firing, they already have enough points to pretty much guarantee them top 14 easily. They don't even need to play the next series to go out into the top 14 and make it to the
Sejam,
finals.
anjir.
But honestly, for them, it's all a momentum game. We heard it when Panic and Zero were actually on the stage and they got interviewed at the end of the day yesterday. Zero, I don't remember the last time I heard him talk about, you know, a teammate like that besides Hal, of talking about, you know, how much confidence that he wants to instill in Panic, because he thinks that he is one of, if not the best players in the game when he feels that confidence. And I think that was something that they were lacking early on, being a new teammate. And to watch them come out and be this well performed is impressive so far. Good start.
And Graceful, for you, if you were in Panic's situation, right, when you hear Zero, that's just pretty much so many accolades to his name.
So many accolades.
Put you mentally going into this event and hopefully making it to the finals.
I mean, I think Panic is also one of the players that people had a lot of doubt about him initially. Before he even got picked up and played pro properly, people had a lot of doubt about him. And at that point, you're at the stage where nobody's supporting you except yourself. And when you finally get these huge results now, after getting picked up and then picked up again, and now he's here on the biggest stage in the world currently, he has to be feeling really good about himself. But we can't dispute, like you said as well, having Zero hype him up as well, one of the best players in the world, standing right there behind you, patting your back or slapping your head, is definitely the confidence boost that you need to be like, I'm supposed to be here. And I think that it can only go up from here, and up when they're already at the top. Sky's the limit.
Or getting just absolutely stared down when you end up doing. We saw that.
Boom, 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 boom.
It was all the team slays. Everyone.
I'm like, oh, and then I catch myself doing my stop.
I have 4 kids, so that's the first time and probably the last time that you're gonna see me do that here at ALGS at EWC 26. Now we got a chance to talk to SAUL. How happy are you?
Anjir, stage penuh, Cak. The hell.
Yesterday too.
Look, I'm not trying to have bias, okay? Just because Apex South. Nah, yeah. But, you know, I've been watching this team for so long, and this was like even before I sort of got into doing esports. You know, I was just watching along, you know, at home, like all of you guys. So just to see these exceptional players, because they have always had this in them. You know, Sharky's won the title, so it's not something that they can't do. Like, you know, these long-standing players, when they finally have their moment, it just brings me so much joy. You know, we saw it, you know, with Monsoon finally having that, and I think this is SAUL's time.
Ooh, okay.
I do.
I like hearing that. And I mean, the crazy part too today's time is that we didn't just have one team being able to get 2 wins. We ended up getting 2 teams. We already talked. Actually, it was. Oh my goodness! I just saw Team Falcons and Team Liquid, and I was like, from my side, from my peripheral vision, look the same, but they're not the same. Just check myself there real quick. But let's actually talk about Team Falcons once again. Back-to-back days where they get a win, but the ending performance is a bit questionable.
Yeah, and we talked with Hal a little bit about this yesterday when we were here in the studio. You know, they had a really good start and mediocre finish, and to end up in 10th place overall in this set after having a huge game 1. I mean,
najis banget.
23 points in game 1.
Dapat soulstone anjing.
So 12 points in the next 5 games is very underperforming. You know Hal is going to be extremely upset, and I'm starting to wonder how much of that is attributed to the crypto pick. Because Crypto is always the first ban, and they're winning the first game. So for the fact that they're so dominant on that character, it is slightly concerning that they have had such underperformances when he gets banned, because he's consistently the first banned character. So is that something that's going to come into play here as we move forward? But honestly, this Falcons team is very well put. I think group play is going to be them figuring things out. But that is something to be watching for the rest of this event.
And Grace, I see you over there. As soon as he said crypto, you were like,
I mean, that's the thing, really. Not only the legend pick itself, but we're talking about World's Edge. I would say that's probably like the most RNG, not really RNG, but E-District is the one that should be the most stable out of the maps. And when you're underperforming on the map that is, in my opinion, a lot easier to be stable on, same as Stormpoint as well, comparatively to, you know, World's Edge or Olympus, that's when you really start to wonder, okay, guys, what are we doing wrong? Is it the macro? Are we just losing fights? We got to figure this out. But as you said, this is great. We have this to figure them out as well, in case they wouldn't make the upper batch to make it into finals immediately and they find themselves in the survivor stage. But I think they can figure this out.
Anjir, 14.
Keep talking about some of these squads, right? That people that actually expected them to do so well, that underperformed Shopify Rebellion. I know up until that last game, yes, you do end up getting a win, but there was just so many questionable stuff that I know you were scratching your head when you were thinking, what is this team gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, they were in 20th place after the halftime, and for a team that's as dominant as they are, you know, they have dominated Pro League. They came into here.
Do you ever get halfway through an edit and realize that you're missing the best shots? Luckily, Envato has everything I need in one place to fill those gaps in my timeline. First, I need some aerials.
That during Pro League, they were more of a hybrid team. You know, they got slays, but their biggest improvement was their placements. They had the best overall placements of any team in North American Pro League. And for them to come to this event and not really
boleh nggak sih? Gue takut.
And
while talking to Phony, a big
Ah,
reason
gue
for that
juga
is
nge-stream
because
Apex.
their
Anjir,
match
shader,
picks
cok.
all zone oriented. They specifically went for zone, middle map, whatever it might be to try and get in there. And I feel like that team is too dominant of Slayer type of play styles that you shouldn't just lean in one direction. You should continue with that hybrid that had been working well for them before.
Grace, what do we expect out of them tomorrow?
I mean, I expect them to...
Besok
this
survival.
is the point. We're at day 2, essentially. And now you're coming to the point where, are we sticking to our plan, which hasn't been working well so far? Or are we gonna throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks? And as you said as well, with a team of this caliber, the fighting prowess that they have, they might just revert to the old one that everybody was scared of to fight because they were just laying out at that point. But we'll have to see for sure.
We'll definitely have to see because TLN Pirates, I mean, at the end of day 1, that squad was only able to get 2 points. We kind of did a scenario, Lace, where I was like, if you were the coach, what would you tell them? You said, go get that that booty. And guess what? They did. They ended up getting more than 2 points. They ended up actually with a total of 19 points. If you're their coach, Lace, are you happy with that improvement? Because, boy, it is
I
an
mean, the
improvement.
coach must have spoke to Zero digging for his treasure. So, you know, they've got it all together, it seems. But this is what I mean, like, with Graceful sort of saying, you know, throw something at the wall till it sticks, and you can see them. They're like, okay, we're not performing, nothing's happening for us, let's just swap it up and change it. And that's exactly what you need to do in these group stages. I just could not implore that in more for these teams. So, but you know, looking I guess at some teams that, you know, Shopify we thought were going to do well. I mean, they still have that opportunity, and you know, I think their pros might need to push it even further to get up to these top ranks. But I mean, time will tell.
Are we worried at all about Walls? How they're currently performing, especially after today, only 10 points? Is that something that kind of rings an alarm in your guys' heads? Wolves?
Falcon ketiga,
Yeah, I
cok.
mean, absolutely. Being the #1 team in that region coming into this and having this big of
Falcon
underperformances,
ketiga.
I mean, I did not expect this in any sense whatsoever. I don't think anyone in that region expected this to happen. And for, you know, the caliber of you know, No Name to come out there, one of the best players in the game, everyone consistently talks about him in their top 5. I think I don't know what they really need to do at this point to come back into this
Gokil
series,
sih
but
RRQ bisa
something's gotta change.
62 anjir. Kayak kemarin pas di scrim gak gini, cok.
Well, in general, it's very common that somebody who's rank 1 might lose to rank 3, but will always be at rank 2. I think this is mainly about matchup knowledge, as you said as well, where, you know, this lobby potentially just plays against their playstyle that works for them normally, where the way they steamroll, now you have more teams on edge.
Siapa aja sih yang main?
We saw them try to essentially inted Team Liquid, and when you have those matches, you have to make sure, hey, nobody else is on our side.
Lions,
Just keep on
Deep
into each other.
Cross,
You're just gonna take everybody out of the equation.
Elite
Does well
for
out of those games, as
fun.
we saw there as well. I think that maybe they need to go into the
Ada
Survivor
Gaming,
stage, find
ada
the group again, and then come
GK
back to the finals,
anjir,
but also the
CD
finals will
what
then
the
be
hell,
mixed up as well, which could be in their favor,
Ninja,
or if it's just very edge heavy, it could be against them. But I think anything at this point, you just need to
Nemesis,
start getting your mojo back.
VK,
It's a bit of a 50-50, right? Sometimes
Zeta,
going into that
Zedi,
extra stage does kind of help out some of the
Ente,
team.
cok.
It gives them kind of lets them settle their nerves in a way. I know Wolves first place out of their region. You never know what could be happening. You never know how maybe the travel all the way to Paris affected them. But looking at the overall right here, I mean, Team Liquid, what an amazing day. And talking about Wolves, there we see them in 11th place. Lace, I'm going to send it to you. Is there any team that's popping to your head besides Gen G Esports in 13th place?
I mean, tied. Let's look, you know, we're tied. So there's, like I said, there's always still room for improvement there, but didn't really show up yesterday, showing up today. So this is making it incredibly hard to sort of pick where everyone's going. Everyone's like, okay, no, I've got to swap this, got to do this. I mean, that's just what we've been droning on about. But my God, I am actually, I have no idea. Can I say that? I actually, like, usually I have like, oh yeah, I've got a plan, I've got, you know, SAUL on top, but like, you know, you look at this mid-range kind of leaderboard and you're like, yo, this could go anyway. I'm hoping, but yeah, I'm waiting for day 3. Ask me then, return to me on day 3.
Yeah. Okay, you know, we'll send it to Snipe. Snipe, what are we expecting out of this, out of some of the teams that already played?
Abis survival tuh apa sih?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, I think Aurora needs to step it up. I mean, they've played 2 series and are sitting around 50 points, averaging
langsung ya?
25 points in each of these matches for a team as
Langsung
dominant as
ya?
they are, especially throughout all of the Pro League. They dominate
dominated in the EMEA region, and for them to come out here and really underperform pretty heavily in both the sets that they've played. I mean, it does come down to the final day because right now they are on the fringe of being put in the elimination bracket. So I think that'll be really interesting to follow. I did not expect it, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how the teams that underperformed in the day one, the NIPs and the alliances come out firing, especially in the second set, because we're seeing kind of where the points threshold is at, and now we're going into the later half. We have 3 series left before groups is finished, so it'll be really curious to see how it ends up, because the leaderboard's a little all over the place when we're looking at it. We can't see, you know, all the teams that are still yet to play. We can only see where we're at, and I think at the end of the day we'll have a pretty good understanding, and we'll be able to pinpoint kind of what the threshold might be going into tomorrow.
Survivor's gonna be crazy.
It is gonna be crazy. Grace, while he was talking about Aurora, I just see you shaking your head over there. You're like, oh man, this is one of the teams that I also talked about. About Aurora?
I mean, I was worried about Aurora. Now I'm worried about Alliance potentially. But the main thing that a lot of the time we talk about people having their arch nemesis and they're thinking about, oh dude, I need to put one over that specific team, right? Sometimes you just gotta focus on the tournament you're at. Maybe they've just been focused too much on taking out other teams, and hey man, we gotta work on our plan properly, because so far though, I will say, this tournament, so many teams have shown up in different games, of course, but it's not just the teams that everybody initially thought to talk about. We talk about Aurora, we talk about Lions. We're seeing other teams step up to the plate, and it really shows how competitive Apex Legends is. And you really have to always stay at the highest level, or somebody's looking to rug pull you the moment.
Berat
yesterday, right? Deeds being able to perform well here at EWC, once again, kind of being able to just mimic that after yesterday. They're gonna be looking to maybe have that performance and just have that pressure of their shoulders. Let's talk about that pressure, because as we've seen it previously, it does end up affecting it. And I mean, you guys are 2 ex-pros, so let's deep dive a little bit more into that and just have that kind of guide us through that mentality of like going into the final day of groups. You're currently sitting in the position where you could maybe end up getting eliminated or go to Survivor. And then for you, Grace, what I want you to think about is if you are one of those teams that has a chance to go from survival to grand finals, and actually if you want to go first, Snipe, if you're being one of those teams that are currently on the cusp of elimination.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting dynamic because most of the events there is no elimination. There is just losers bracket. So I think a lot
Wah, emang lag,
teams
cok.
are not
Excel.
used to that feeling, and desperation starts to set in every single time day 3. So when day 3 comes around and these teams realize, oh, we're this far back, or you know, we have this many points to accumulate, that's when teams start overextending, or you know, you have like the Wolves taking the fights on the Team Liquids for no reason, and it's like that was one of those plays where it felt like they were desperate for some sort of momentum, and they just want to take a fight to try and win and be like, okay, you know, we're the best, and pump each other up. There's a double-edged sword with that, because the moment it goes wrong, it's like you're sitting there for 20 minutes watching everyone else play the game, and you're just sitting there, you know, with your head down, and then it comes down to who's the leader of the team picking everybody up, who's able to get you guys in the right mindset, because a lot of times, you know, if teams don't start hot, can they pick it back up, or are they going to continue to fizzle out? And we saw that with even Shopify. I mean, they started really poorly. They were in 20th place, and they won the game 6, and that was the biggest thing that kept them in the series, and it's going to keep them going into the next day as well. So I think it's really just going to come down to how strong and how prepared are these teams, because if you feel like you came into this as prepared as you can be, you shouldn't have the nerves. If you feel like you didn't put in the effort that you should have and you could have prepared more, that's when the unsureness can come in, and you can start to think to yourself, maybe we should have done a little more.
You start doubting yourself and you absolutely hate it. And before I actually go to you, Grace, I just want to let the audience know that we're currently just switching the groups. The next groups are going to be A versus C. Stay tuned for that. Every once in a while, you'll see a timer just kind of pop up here above my head at some point, and that kind of gives you a heads up. Yeah, it kind of gives you a heads up of how long we have until the next match, because I know a lot of people were wondering, when is the next match? When is the next match? Well, going back to what we were talking about with some of their squads. Now, in regards to in the cusp of elimination. Now, if you're able to get a chance to go just straight to grand finals.
Ini juga lagi, cok, udah 100 saya masih lama banget.
I mean, this is the thing as well. I speak from mainly the
tiba-tiba pindah tuh dia.
Having to lead a team and having that pressure on you. But I've also played Fragger one time when I played on IG as well in London. But it's just so vastly different, and that's kind of the thing as well. A lot of the times we tend to look at just mainly the IGL from the roster, where you're like, oh dude, what's the pressure you're needing to lead a team? Like, are you tilted? Who's gonna cheer you up? If you have a coach, hopefully the coach pulls you out of that tilt and you can still refocus and make your way up that hill. But sometimes it just comes down to, like, you know, we hear it over and time again. It's like, yeah, he's the best player, but the main reason why we work so well is the vibes. And that's a real thing. Team chemistry is such an important thing to make sure that nobody really falls on it. If they fall on their knee, everybody picks each other up. And that's really the way forward to have it, is that you need to make sure that you're on the same page, you're pushing the same ideas, and everybody feels heard and they're moving forward. Yeah.
And I love that.
Ranger,
Sorcerer. I saw Zero just pass by from Team Liquid, and he's just happy and waving and saying, "You think completely different if it would have been the other situation, right?"
Yeah.
Now, Lace, we saw the players from SAUL draw a circle. I saw you drawing something over there. What was it?
Oh, this is for chat that says that we have the ability to start the game. I drew a button for you, chat.
Let's test it out.
So, like, if you want me to push it, maybe give 10 subs or something.
10.
You know, because I have the control to
Kapitalis,
start
anjing.
the games for you guys. So.
Well, maybe if you push that one, we'll go into a break into the
Let
next
me know,
segment.
chat. Do you want me
Let's test it out.
want me to start the game or no?
Wait. Let's test this out. Let's see how much power we have with production here, because we're gonna go on a break soon. So, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day.
Putus ya.
It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined here by Peace from Unlimit. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's shake hands. You know what, my friend? I gotta say, today, there's like a legend that you guys don't typically use, which is Fuse. And you guys decided to use it, and actually it went really well. Talk us through that today.
So, we never used Fuse in scrims. In like other tournaments, we never used Fuse. But our team suggested I use Fuse, which I never played, but I'm used to Maggie and like Bangalore, a lot of aggressive characters, and it felt very good on Fuse too. That's why I popped off, and we kind of got in shape as a team.
I think that, speaking of aggression, right, it's with those legends, but aggression within the region, you typically play APAC North, which is known to be an aggressive region. Now that you're on a global stage, have you had to change the way that you guys play, because people play differently from different regions?
So we thought about that many times, but we're not gonna change our like play style, basically, but like maybe in like winners bracket or the finals, yeah, we're figuring out how to because how we play at APAC North doesn't work at the top lobbies. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think that as well, like when you think about results for you guys, thinking about the finals at Sapporo at Champs, you guys managed to secure top 10. What have you guys been doing since Champs in order to make sure that you secure a higher spot at EWC this year?
Okay, so just what I said, like we're practicing a lot to fit into the lobbies at the high tier, a lot of good players, and we're trying to fit in with our play style, like putting in beacon characters and using it and trying to get in zone. We're trying our best, and yeah.
Trying your best, and it's working so far. You know what, Peace? Thank you so much for joining me in this interview. I really appreciate you doing this interview in English. You smashed it. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. Right, for now, we're going to continue with the ALGS Split 1 Playoffs Day 2.
Everyone is Landon Arcia. I'm
Kenapa
here
jadi
in Saudi Arabia.
ada Lando anjir? Lando ngapain, Cok? Ini main tahun lalu nggak sih? Apa yang sekarang?
My first proper games when I started to play was CS. I was like a Tarkov and Tarkov player.
Bohong. Lu mainnya Rocket League, Lando.
Absurd speeds. I used to play a lot of PUBG. Like a lot of PUBG. I think like 2,000 hours on PUBG. But for me, iRacing has always been the best in terms of competition, learning about the setups of cars, the quality, and you like shutting your eyes sometimes because you think you're going to hit the wall and you just make it.
Because I know Dynamo's going to be there as well, the magician.
Yes, yeah, he's in town at the moment.
Lando, EWC, anjir. Ngapain ke EWC, Cak?
I stick to just... But then when you're flying and you're driving, it's tough.
Doesn't make sense.
But just driving around, like, you know, just footballing cars, then it's also a lot of fun. Everyone has like names. I need like a gamer name.
A huge win for the PGC champions, and of course Lando Norris joining us here, enjoying some good old PUBG.
PUBG asik juga kali ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gadia Esports Arena, where I've got a very familiar face alongside me, especially if you know your Formula One, Lando Norris. How's it going, man?
Hello, man. Oh, good, thanks.
What's your experience been like so far at the Esports World Cup?
It's just a new experience for me, and I'm also a massive gamer. So, you know, I've loved to be part of the gaming community for many, many years. I was part of this growing up, so for me to come and see some of the pros and see some of the finals and things is pretty sick.
Rocket League kan anjing. Dia kan penonton Rocket League, Cok. Bebas sih, bebas.
I grew up gaming a lot. As a lot of you all know, I love my games. I'm still a big gamer, even on the side of Formula One. But yeah, just watched PUBG, watched Rocket League, one of my other favorites. Even though I'm terrible and I can't play any of these games, I love to watch the competitions. I love to meet some of the guys because they're all incredible and extremely talented. So yes, a lot of fun, nice and warm. But going on to some more places now, seeing some more people, seeing some more games. So having fun.
Loh, ada sim racing anjir. Ini go-kart, Cok.
I'm not feeling confident, but we're gonna have fun.
Lama banget game-nya. Aku mainin dulu deh. Ini nggak ke-save. Kok ini yang naik?
In a minute, I'm gonna use this envelope. Yeah? It's not important right now, I'm just letting you know I'm gonna use this envelope. You see that on camera? I'm gonna use this envelope. Check it out.
Lah, kenapa?
Solid choice. I'm gonna take it and put it in the middle. But remember at the beginning, I said we're gonna use an envelope.
Sulap, 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 sulap.
Inside the envelope. No! That is mad! Watch. I'll take the pick and I'll take the fire and turn
Bong,
fire.
bong, 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 bong.
We get ice.
I've always been into gaming growing up, and you get to see the event that they put on for the best in the world for almost every game in the world. I think this is a surprise, and it's an incredible thing to come and see, to be here.
Deep down, I'm still a kid. I got that gamer inside of me still, so I love it here. It's exciting. It's fun to be a part of. This is like heaven for me. This is heaven.
Controller gue kenapa coba? Lama banget anjir. WA gue berisik banget, astaga.
Harus memberikan pendidikan yang baik untuk anak-anak kami. Saya Ibu
Wordle, 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 wordle. Ngik nguk, ngik nguk, ngik nguk.
Welcome everybody back
Apa kata
to the
pertama?
studio. I'm calling it Rain Day's room. Today we've got a different type of room. This room is a room filled with laughs. It's a room filled with jokes, with skits, with millions of followers across all of his socials. It's the one, the only Tony Romero, my boy from San Diego. What's up, Tony?
Doing good, man. Excited to be here. No rest, but passion is still here.
The man
Hey,
was
si
trying to
Tony.
get his ticket like the second before
Si
he flew,
Tony.
but you found it. You found a way, right?
Yeah, I found it. I'm here. I'm good. As soon as I got here, I thought I was gonna tap out, and I saw the games, got excited. I was like, yeah. And then I saw my boy Jay Future, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, but just second win, it just kicked in.
Now, one of the things I love to do is edify different people in our community. You saw content creator Clara at work yesterday. Tony is a guy who, when I look at an expert in shorts, he's one of the best at putting on skits, content, things that are fun around Apex Legends. You just did one about Seer returning to the meta. Talk to me about that one, because you were throwing water on yourself. I mean, what's it been like to see her back in the meta?
I'll go above and beyond for the videos, but the things that I like to do with my content is to kind of like bring the emotions and things that players feel to life, and whether changes happen in the game because of here nor there. But that Seer video, I feel like it had to be made and just kind of let people know that, like, hey, Seer 2.0 is no joke. Like, flashbangs are back, and well, it's not really back. They nerfed him again, and I think he's back in a comfy, healthy place. But honestly, like, I just had to put that out there for those people that didn't play during that time to let them know this is what we went through.
As you mentioned, going through things, Jay Future, a guy I want to talk about. We did bring him up in the broadcast. He is a up-and-coming talent. I thought about him and Dinos and their performance, and I said we have to interview this team because it's just been a few splits since they've been in Challenger Circuit. Now they're actually winning games in the middle of France. $2 million. That is basically the ultimate upstart story, from nothing to something. I'm at the pinnacle, and that's something, I mean, you relate to a lot, especially your rising content has been probably about the last 5 years just zooming to the top.
Yeah, and it's never too
Yo,
late would be the best way to describe all of this. It's never too late. And Jay Future, if I'm okay to share the story with him about him, but like I don't know if his story's been told enough, but like he came to a lot of my custom lobby tournaments where we would host just, I guess, scrims, but for like casual people, not really pros. But he would come in with his friends in 3-stack, and he'd mollywop the lobby. But of course, he was okay with me doing things that pushed the envelope to make him like have a little bit of like a challenge, like, okay, you can't use this character anymore, you're banned from using them, okay, you're only allowed to use this gun now. And then like he was a part of the content, and he was just a regular person, a regular viewer at that time, and like it just happened so fast. He went from that, and the last time I heard from him was he asked about some advice on how to get content and streams efficiently going, and then the next time I check in on him, he's pro and he's competing here. Like, and I DM'd him recently, told him good luck, and I gotta meet up with him later and get some lunch. But like his story, if anybody gets a chance to like see him, talk with him, like I think it's one of the more inspiring ones, where it's never too late to make it.
He seemed like a really honest kid too. I mean, 19 years old, from Ontario, Canada. Politeness is something that goes along with the Canadian mentality. We know it there. Shout out my boy Dia, Archbishop, working on our storylines. I think looking at
right now,
though, as a young kid, Tony, it's tough. You've worked with a lot of people. You're a coach, actually. People
Where
come
now?
Tony's background as a martial artist
now
coach. You've worked with people who are young, and mentality is probably one of the biggest things that you see differentiates certain young people from others.
Yeah, and it's really a lot of it has to do is like for me, I'm the type of creator I like to be is bringing that energy that I used to have when I was a coach, and let people know that like don't let anybody tell you you can't,
the ex-coach,
count you out, and if they do count you out, use that and fuel it to prove them wrong, because positive influence is gonna take you so far into this, and even like somebody like Future, who does hold himself, I think, really well professionally, and he has a really, not just a good story, but like he is a very down-to-earth guy.
So you're rooting for Dinos, to say the least.
Oh yeah, I said that before he went there. I DM'd him too. Like, this is not, it's real. I'm not a bandwagoner. It's real. Day one Future, he won a tournament in my community. Gave him a free Revenant heirloom, by the way, because he won it. But
there it is, man.
But yeah, no, Future is the real. He's the truth.
Future is the truth. Tony, a lot of us too, I'd be remiss not to ask, you do so much great work. We actually met up working with a content creator in San Diego. You do so much work working with content creators as well. It's appropriate. All of these professional players have abilities to make tons of incredible moments with content, but a lot of them don't. And that's something we're working on in our scene constantly. A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. What's your advice to a pro, or, you know, the chat watching, something you think that pros can hop in and do that would be entertaining for us to watch?
You know what's funny is you can never give too much of the same information. I know it sounds crazy, but think of it like this. I used to teach boxing to kids. There are so many ways to teach the jab. There are so many ways to teach people how to set up combinations. And in Apex Legends, there's so many ways to approach the game. From ring drop to POI selection to the guns to the team compositions, that like there's just so many ways that you can kind of like express the skill in the game, that if the pros, a team, or you guys have something to share, just put it out there, man. But I think the most important part is just making sure it's easy to digest for the viewer.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people kind of get scared or they fumble on. They kind of like just word vomit.
What's a big mistake you think a lot people make when they start making content?
Too much words.
Too many words.
Too like
just simplify.
Ilmu guys, ilmu anjir gak boleh dilewatin, Cok.
Imagine you're talking to somebody who's never played the game and you want them to succeed.
Yeah.
And I think if you communicate it and using vocabulary that somebody is new to the game, never played before, you have to use that lingo. I promise you that's going to have way more reach than using the higher skill stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff's not important.
Yeah.
But there's a time and place for it, right?
Yeah.
You gotta learn to hit the bag before you spar. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get those reps in.
Yeah, you know, people sometimes it sounds like code, man. I
Ilmu ini ilmu buset.
Launch Gerch and took 3 with
Tony.
And I'm like, is that something? No, man, I just walked to that building over there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you know, this is a 15 years old game. I need an introduction, man. But it's funny to see how there is some of those little things seem obvious, not so obvious when you get into this big landscape. Tony, before we let you go, I kind of want to just give you an opportunity to wax poetic on being here in France. Being here in this moment, it was a bit of a journey. You haven't been out of the country too many times, I know.
Yeah.
So this is kind of new for you as well, leaving the family. But how has it been? What are you looking forward to, not only at EWC, but just spending a few days in Paris with us?
I'm looking forward to like bringing Apex
Muka gue merah banget
to
ya.
more people with my content. That's like my next plan. Like there's a video that I did where usually, you know, when you watch like a tier list video, for example, the creator's making the tier list. I started going out to like in my local game shops in the mall and having people who have played Apex Legends make the tier list. It's like, so now like my comment section can't get mad at me anymore. It's so-and-so on the street who's played the game.
Smart.
They think, you know, Sears S tier, or, you know, he kind of is right now, but you know. But, you know,
Siri emang ngaco banget sih anjir. Tapi pas kemarin, sekarang udah di nerf.
Skill level, so I bring it to them, make it easy to get involved, even if they don't really play the game.
Terlalu OP anjir.
Or in the crowd and they're saying they see you.
Yeah.
And they want to be a part of that content. Can they come up?
Absolutely. Stop me, come by, wave me down. If they see me with a camera and it's recording, what are you doing? Can I be in it? It's most likely going to be All
right, I love it, man. Tony Romero, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's a pleasure as always. Go follow this guy, Tony Romero, on socials. We have more Apex Legends coming up. We're close to getting ready for our second series of the day, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tony. Masa itunya PS4 anjir? Kan udah sponsornya PS5.
I'm a pro player.
I am a pro player.
And the Esports World Cup brought together 100 esports pros to answer esports' biggest question, starting with...
Who's the best gamer ever and why?
That's a good question. I think everyone agrees like the best gamer would be Faker from League of Legends.
Ooh, and I would say Faker.
Faker.
I don't know much about League, but everybody I know just says he's the GOAT and League's the biggest game. Faker.
The best gamer ever has to be the guy from League of Legends. I forgot his name. Faker. Yeah, that guy. That guy's.
Pertanyaan ini lagi, Cok.
Ever is Faker. He plays arguably one of the hardest games and has dominated for longer than anyone has dominated in any other games. So
I'll give it to Shroud. I think Shroud's done the most for the industry. Very big streamer. He competed. He did a lot for gaming itself, and he grew the space a lot.
أتوقع نشوفه قدوة في حنا كسعوديين مساعد الدوسي.
How did you get your gamer tag?
Pertanyaan itu lagi anjir.
A friend of mine, one of my brother's friends.
My brother?
Kind of stealing it from my cousin.
I think I just stole it from someone, to be honest.
Yo, that gamer tag is cool. I'm gonna copy it.
My friend and I played Minecraft. He named himself Zero, but eventually he didn't want that name anymore, so I kind of took it.
From a show called Sword Art Online, there was a character named Zekin, and I thought the name was cool, so I stole the name.
I watch a lot of anime, and I was trolling, I was around, and
Hisoka anjir.
So good, so I ran with it.
Well, it's after the Roman god of the forge and fire. From
Hunter x Hunter.
Hades. 当初最开始打游戏，我经常获胜，经常 win， 经常赢。然后到后来，我非常的膨胀，非常的嚣张，
pro player PUBG ya? Oh iya, Cok.
It's my last name. Very boring. A lot of people hate it when people use their names for gamer tags, so yeah, I'm one of them.
My gamer tag is just my name, to be honest.
Just my name. My last name is Håkansson. Hackis is like the short version of that.
Nickname của mình là Levi, thì đây là một nhân vật mà mình rất ưa thích trong bộ phim anime Attack on Titan. Có một nhân vật Levi rất là cool ngầu trong đó.
I was in 8th grade. I named myself on PlayStation Dongosaurus Rex, and I shortened it to the gamer tag I have now.
Psycho is like a Call of Duty clan that I actually made as a kid. It was with me and my friends, and then I kicked them all out, and then I just kept the name Psycho.
What is the most expensive item, skin, or cosmetic that you own?
I really have not been spending a lot of money on skins and stuff. Like, I used to be default Andy. But right now, I would say there's probably the Universal Heirlooms in Apex.
I think Fouaz, a Bugatti.
Bugatti.
The most expensive skin that I have was probably the Naruto skin.
I own the Uzi Kaisa skin.
MLBB anjing.
USD.
In Valorant, the skins aren't very expensive, so the most expensive one I own is only $20 or so.
I think all the G2 skins on Rainbow Six because they're just awesome.
أغلى شيء أملكه في اللعبة اللي هو الجولد رش الألفا بوست.
O item mais caro que eu tenho é o Alpha Boost, que é item do Rocket League, que é bem caro.
The most
4.500 anjir.
I'd say probably the Porsche bundle.
The most expensive cosmetic I own is a 2018 Winston skin from BlizzCon.
Most expensive in-game item I own is not really much. I don't really like spending money in-game. To be honest, I'm quite a default skin of everything.
What's the weirdest DM you've ever gotten as a pro?
I was fishing and someone just took my photo and sent me back. Like, well, I'm fishing.
The ones that asked for my exact tattoo template to get the same one. I mean, at the same time, it's a compliment. I've received multiple different DMs that I should not talk about here.
Nossa, eu acho que uma DM mais esquisita, não deveria nem falar, né?
Lah itu sim racing anjir.
Doidinha.
有粉丝向我表白。
Thirsty fans, you know, they type weird things.
Some people ask me for my feet. Some old
What
lady
the
asked me
fuck?
to be her sugar baby. I didn't respond, luckily. I should have. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Times were rough back then.
They're claiming that they're my family or relatives, even though I didn't know them after we won EWC last year.
What is the most toxic thing that you've ever seen happen in a match?
I think that the most toxic thing I saw in game is just people saying like some and some
The most toxic thing that I've seen, well, I felt it because I'm the one who did it. I got at the steering wheel because I was very, very angry / sad.
Lah iya, ada inian ya?
That has gone wrong because I was...
Ada balap ya?
Players fighting with
Tuh gitu gua player ke balap ya?
Something like that.
The most toxic thing I've ever seen happen is actually very recently. The Team Falcons, their IGL crashed out on their player, Waldzy.
Lah emang Alcatia masih main?
Eu acho que o mais tóxico que eu já vi numa partida foi quando eu mostrei o dedo meio para Vitality no Major de Londres.
The most toxic match that I probably seen was when this team won against their enemy and they stood up and did some signs and trash talking them.
Like not giving the fist bump after the match and also trash talk.
Most toxic thing I've ever seen, being intentionally taken out 2 years ago. I'll leave it there.
Which pro would you want to 1v1?
I guess I would 1v1 Faker on League.
Faker in League of Legends just to see how good he is.
I would face Caps in League just because I think he is probably one of the best players ever.
You need to get the easiest one, the supports one, because I don't want to play against mid laners. They're too good. Simple in CSGO.
Bronzy.
Slam him like the good old days.
I'd go with FNS from Valorant, and I think it would just be an easy 1v1 for me. I don't know, he's not that good.
Definitely Crimsix, because dude, you're insane.
Justin from Rocket League, and I think that's the only game I would maybe like have a chance of beating a pro.
我想跟 Faker 打撸啊撸，因为这样子可以让他多挣100万了。
بختار العب ضد اخوي وكلنا ربحانين ان فزت ان خسرت بيعطيني النص.
Maybe my teammate Tree, because he beat me so many times.
Probably Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen in chess, because he's the GOAT, man. You can't beat that dude. So if I did it, it'd be the greatest thing ever achieved.
What is the greatest non-esports casual video game ever made?
Is that Ocarina of Time?
God of War, I love that game.
Zelda.
Me too.
Euros.
I love Rust. World of Warcraft.
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Elden Ring.
Destiny 2.
It's Mario Kart. Clash Royale to Clash Royale.
Terraria. Forza Racing.
Pokemon.
Diablo. Need for Speed. GTA Online.
Assassin's Creed.
Maple Story, Little Nightmares, Monopoly.
Expedition 33.
The Google game when you wait and that should not
What?
have any connection.
Google game
Some
anjir.
great answers from all the players at EWC 26 pairs. You know what? Let's actually go with this. Who is the GOAT? And this is going to be an easy one for you guys. Who's the GOAT for Apex Legends?
Pertanyaan ini lagi.
There's no way we don't all just say Hal here, right?
Me. No, you have to say it, Grace. You have to say it.
No, of course. Anybody who doesn't say him, he's literally the completed player in the world. Like once he went roller, nobody has been able to dethrone him for years.
Who's second?
Okay, that's a hard one. That's a good one. That's a hard one. I'd have to think about that. Send it to
Snipe.
I mean, probably Hawkes at this point. I think Hawkes might have overtaken Zero after these last
Easy
couple
flash kit.
years and
Easy flash kit.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hawkes or effect.
Anjing itu kayak Timmy, Cok. Ini siapa yang bawah tuh? Ada ayam, ada Pikachu.
I think Hawkes is probably, yes, the second best IGL in the world. But Effect is probably the best fragger in the world, in my opinion. So it's like, it's hard to just pinpoint number 2 as easy it is to pinpoint number 1. But Hawkes is a great shout out.
Okay, well, hey, let us know if you guys agree on social media. Use that hashtag EWC. I really want to see what you guys are saying. I mean, I saw the Twitch chat yesterday when you guys were rating some of those paintings there from Clara Work, from Lace. So let us know if you guys agree with those first two. Hal, first. Hawkes, Effect, Hawkes. There you go. Let us know if you agree with those, because we are going to be getting ready for Group A versus Group C. And for this ones, I mean, one team that's definitely going to be pointing out to us is the one that performed so well yesterday, and it's Elite, Grace. That team, wow.
I mean, I've said enough about them already yesterday, but I'm so proud of them. The way
Epic
how
mulu
far
nih guys.
they have come, you know, it's kinda
Siapa anjir?
as well. But I feel like it's always so hard to outshine people. There can only be so many personalities on one team, and when you have people talk about the Lights IGL, and when you talk about kinda, you know, when he was so young and he still performed, I would like to give big shout outs to Henchman. Been on several teams, always performed. Maybe not the loudest player on the team, very consistent, really good at shooting his gun.
And I mean, you remember that play? They're going through like one of the gates and they're Watson fence. I stayed up all night thinking about this exact play, because I'm like, okay, two teams on either side. They're in a choke point. They've got swing right, take down that team, swing left, in amongst these Watson fences.
Reconnecting.
Yeah, I stay up at night thinking about that.
I mean, it was the zone towards Jurassic, right through those gates, seeing all those Watson fans. We saw a Kraber no-scope headshot, and then the fact, like you said, holding hands, making sure to clear every side, and then that just shows how much on the same page they are. And it definitely results on the leaderboard the way they were dominating.
And I mean, for you, Snipe, Geekade, they were able to get a win yesterday. Do we think that that's going to happen here today again?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this team is going to end up winning everything, but this is a roster that I love just following along, because they've had so much success. And I think one player that doesn't get enough credit for his success and tenure along the Apex series has been dropped. He's been in every single grand finals at every tournament besides one now. He would be on that list with all these other players. Incredible resume. And now he's got Noct and Keon as his backup. And I think one thing about this roster that's interesting is they're one of the best in terms of getting placement points, but they had the worst damage differential and the worst damage dealt of any of the North American teams that are here at this event today. But honestly, it really comes down to placement. It really comes down to being consistent. And I think that this roster has what it takes to do that. In Pro League, they got anywhere from 3rd to 10th. They didn't really win anything, but consistency is really what it takes to get to the grand finals. And that's what matters the most, because at that point, all these teams are amazing and anyone can win it once you get there.
I mean, the thing is, we like to put titles on players every now and then. I've called Drop the Uncrowned King for the longest of times. He was able to almost close out one specific LAN I'm thinking of, but he's always been lurking in the final lobbies. I think you said he hasn't called for one LAN specifically, just one LAN, but he's consistently there. And it really brings a tear to my eye, because he's as veteran as they come nowadays. And the fact that he's also keeping the same playstyle of zone-heavy placement, heavy, it's still working to this day to play the same game plan we've been doing for so many years. And yes, you can reinvent the wheel, but at the end of the day, consistency still works.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Game belum mulai.
And one team that if it ain't broke, don't fix it is gonna be our.
Aduh Zeta jadi ketemu PRX RRQ.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take you back to that story because a lot of you would have seen that clip of, you know, strafing, celebrating, be like, wait a second, they didn't win. Their face is not up on that board. But the reason is because they made such an immense comeback in KP. And I think, you know, that's to do with bringing back Easy Flash into the team. Like, these two are the dynamic duo. I've spoken about it before. Brothers fight, make up, break up. But having them come back in together, you can see exactly the chemistry. Like, they don't need ironing out. Maybe, you know, personally need a little bit of ironing out, but they don't need that sort of, you know...
Anjaymu Amar!
Touch on Pricey too, an absolutely mechanically exceptional player also. Like, he is just the most stable out of all of these guys. Obviously, strafing, you know, is leading the team there. You kind of let, like, Easy Flash kind of